happen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to P1 Broadcasting's coverage of the American Motorsports Association Black Magic Studios Grand National Series. I'm your host, Mark Murphy, joined by ISRA and former Lionheart competitor Sam Crow, a handy stock car driver in his own right, but we are so excited to be bringing you 300 miles of Xfinity Series action tonight from where else? The Daytona International Speedway. And Sam, this is a new series for us, but a familiar car from you. You're a pretty handy stock car driver. Tell the fans what they can expect tonight.
I am so excited. I don't know that there's another track on the circuit that demands so much humility as well as expectation as Daytona. I know iRacing never sleeps and the off season never ends, and there is always an opportunity to hone your skills at iRacing, but this place in February is monumental. And so in stock cars, especially the Xfinity car, it is in my opinion, and solely my opinion, it is probably the last of the stock car NASCAR type affiliated vehicles that actually give you the feel of an old type car, that you have to work the wheel, you have to make sure that you're paying close attention to those that are in front of you, closing speeds. The draft is very influential here, and of course pack racing in the corners can be very, very precarious at times, simply because you do have to work the wheel, you have to watch your preload, you have to watch your drivers on the outside, making sure that they're giving you room and you give them room. It is an exciting, fun time to be a race car driver on iRacing right now.
You know, it most certainly is, and it's an exciting and fun time to be a driver here in the American Motorsports Association. This is race number 1 of the 2025 series. It is the 34th race in AMA Grand National history. It's the 3rd time they've been here. The 5th time that the series overall has come to this virtual facility. And Sam, they do things a little bit differently here in the American Motorsports Association. And so here, the Cup Series is the bottom rung of the ladder. Then they move on to the Xfinity Series, and we do not televise the Cup Series. They do the Xfinity Series as the middle. The Premier Series is tomorrow night, same time, same bad channel, same announcers. But their Premier Series is the trucks, which is very interesting to watch. I raced in that series last year. So
there's no question the trucks are my heart. The truck series is absolutely my favorite series.
I've seen you win a good many truck races, my man. I think I've called some of them. So, but no, it's a great field. It's a great series. We've got the likes of, if you followed around the ISRA series, you've heard the name Greg Evans. If you follow
absolutely,
if you follow iRacing at all, you've heard the name. You've heard the name Kyle Heath. That's a former firecracker qualifier, great sim racer in his own right, and you're gonna get to learn some new names too. Right now, fastest in practice, Michael Moquin, 1:46.954. But names like Adam O'Brien, Colby Pierce, Brian Sharp, Kendall Paul, Pat O'Brien, just some of the names that you're going to get very familiar with here on the P1 Broadcasting Network, because all of those guys are excellent drivers in their own right. They deserve the showcase, and we're happy to bring it to them. This is also a series that does stage races, and so you're going to see stages here tonight. You're going to see the yellow flag come out. You're going to see guys pop into the pits, and we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing that too. The total distance tonight is 120 laps, so 300 miles. Sam, 4 sets of tires. What does that do to the strategy?
Well, in my opinion, the tire wear at this track is really a moot point, just simply because it is not required to change them at every stop. Now, if there's in the event that you're in an incident and that you slide the tires or you overheat the tires, you can get some detrimental wear on them. But you're going to find most of the time at super speedway racing in these cars that they will go, if it's a green flag stop, there will be no tire changes. Whereas some drivers will feel the benefit or feel like it's a benefit for them to change the tires under a caution type scenario. So the tire wear would not come into play as much as making sure that you keep the car straight and keep the fenders on it.
Absolutely. It is important. You got to keep the car aero clean if you want to go fast at Daytona. Those stages, by the way, are going to occur at lap 30 and at lap 60. There are again 100 in total laps in total distance tonight. Last year's winner, that's none other than series director Kendall Paul. Fastest qualifying lap here in the series, 178.22 miles an hour. That's Hunter Tate. Fastest race lap, and this is the effect of the draft, 192.76 miles an hour. Mark Morton set that last year. The biggest margin of victory, well, that's Kyle Heath over Harley Day back in the August event here, 0.026 seconds. That's the biggest margin of victory. You know what the smallest is? And this boggles my mind, Sam.
I can't wait to hear.
20 thousandths of a second. Kendall Paul in this race last year over Garrett Austin. Absolutely.
A piece of paper.
It really is.
A piece of paper. And I'm not talking about the width of the paper.
No.
I'm talking about the thickness of the paper.
Kendall Paul and Kyle Heath are the former winners in the series here. And just kind of some things to remember as we get through qualifying. Last year, the Interstellar Esports team, which has kind of merged and reformed their efforts into the Dark Horse Performance Program. But last year, Interstellar Esports swept the opening week here at Daytona. Chad Winstead won the Daytona 500 for the American Motorsports Association. Kendall Paul, he won the Xfinity and the Truck Series races. And the series has not seen a margin of victory greater than 0.03 of a second here at Daytona. Speaking of Sam, the series news, this is the first week of a new team, the Dark Horse Performance Incorporated team, which is a merger of the Black Magic Sim and Interstellar Esports team. Both of those crews have past championships in the AMA series. Black Magic Sim, they won the Truck Series team championship last year, and Interstellar Esports took home the Xfinity crown. And lastly, if you're into the open wheel cars and the open wheel variety, Kendall Paul, Sam, he's bringing it back, and I'm going to be in this race. I'll let you and the headman Gary Godso call it if it's on P1. The second annual AMA Indy 500. That's going to be.
Oh my heavens, that's insane.
That's going to be April 25th and 26th. So we'll get these guys down into some open wheel cars and let them shine in those. Qualifications underway. You see the purple lap start to pop up, and Sam, we're seeing laps somewhere 177 mile an hour range. Does that sound about right to you?
It does sound about right. Of course, the first lap is going to be, it's a little different here than it is at Talladega. And so your first lap will be more of just getting heat into the tires and making sure that you're getting up to speed. And the second lap will be your penultimate lap in order to get the most out of the car that you can get. And you're right. Some people are already running the bottom on their first lap. Some are running rim riding at the top just to get more momentum. But there's some good times going down right now.
There most certainly are. Andrew Miller just shots at the top of the board. We do want to apologize to the fans out there. There is a bit of a technical glitch going on with ATVO. It's displaying the rookies' names as just the rookie symbol. We're going to have that fixed by tomorrow night. Don't you worry. It's something that only pops up when you start ATVO, and we hadn't started it until the session had already gone live. In order to fix that, you've got to start a brand new session. So for tonight only, we're going to have to deal with just seeing some of the names as rookies, and that's no worries. Sam and I are going to tell you exactly the names that go along with those numbers as we go this evening. Looking at lap times, Andrew Miller 177.507. He's on the pole right now. Michael Moquin. Well, there's a familiar name that just shot to P2.
Greg Evans just pops up to P2.
Yes, he does. Michael Moquin goes to third. Jason Heaney fourth. Keith Graham fifth. Corey Crandall sixth. The veterans having a rough time here. Only Jason Heaney among the top six has raced in the series before. So we're definitely going to see some new names up at the sharp end of this thing, Sam.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we have some drivers that may not even take a qualifying attempt. They may wait and just right at the back of the field to start the race. You do have drivers that want to approach such a long race. 300 miles is an adequate amount of laps. And so some drivers want to stay up front. They want to be up there mixing it up and try to get that clean air. And then you have others that would just as soon be more cautious and ride in the back. And then you have all those in between who are catching the best of all of it.
Yeah, and that's something that's something that definitely, it's a strategy call here. Do you ride in the back? Do you try to go to the front? How do you manage? You know what I mean? How do you manage, Sam, the pack and the energy and all of that? Qualifications have concluded, and we are going to get the grid ready and going for you here, race fans. It is time for the Black Magic Studios 300.
Pull those belts tight.
You
Pull
got
them
it,
tight, boys.
You got it, brother. On the pole with a speed of 177.5074. That's going to be Andrew Miller. He's going to be flanked by a very familiar name to everybody that watches P1. That's Greg Evans. He's going to start second. Michael Moquin third. He's going to be flanked by Jason Heaney in fourth. Keith Graham will go fifth next to Corey Crandall in sixth. Christian Light seventh. Pat O'Brien is going to roll eighth. George Glover ninth. And Michael Kirk is going to round out your top 10. In 11th, Ted Craven. The Teddy Bear, he's going to go from 11th starting spot. Edwin James will go from P12. Last year's winner, Kendall Paul, 13th. Colin Cole, 14th. Mark Alletz will start 15th. And next to a good friend of mine, Colby Pierce, he'll go 16th in the 42. Noah Abbott, 17th. John Hutchins, 18th. Justin Osterman, 19th. And Nolan Milnes rounds out your top 20. In 21st, we're going to have Brandon Bernier. He's flanked by Donald Green. Brian Sharp, 23rd. Dylan Godina's 24th. Kyle Heath, always a perennial contender in the American Motorsports Association. He is going to be 25th. 26th is Sean Merriman. 27th, Adam O'Brien. 28th, Trevor Benz. 29th, Corey Swager. The broadcast car is not on the grid. Jason Southard and Sean Mott will be 31st and 32nd. These guys will all move up one spot on the grid, and that's how they're going to line up here, Sam, for 300 miles of...
What a great size field. This is a fantastic showing for AMA tonight.
Yeah, that's a huge grid. For sure.
It really is. It's a great showing for especially for a super. It does pull out the thrill seekers and those that believe that super speedway racing is the great equalizer, and of course it opens up a Pandora's box, so to speak, of excitement.
Yeah, speaking of a Pandora's box of excitement, Sam, this is always a race that I kind of view Daytona Talladega. It's kind of, I don't want to say a crapshoot because there's definitely skill involved, but it is definitely a place where you're going to see some different people come up to the front with a chance to win. Kind of talk about your thoughts and expectations as far as what we're going to see guys going to the front, coming to the back, so on and so on and so on.
I've always found that these tracks for myself, the super speedways, have always been very cerebral. It's a very complicated chess match at 180 miles an hour, especially with these cars, simply because they are a driver's car, and there is a lot of movement. Whether you believe it or not, there is a lot of movement in these cars in the corners, especially in the draft and the air moving around. So it's a mindset of what it is that you're wanting to achieve in and during the race. For me, I always found that finding me a comfortable spot either at front or back is usually, I'm not as aggressive in the early going as I am trying to move up late. Denny Hamlin is famous for that type strategy. And then you have other drivers like Joey Logano, who in the Cup Series, who is very aggressive and wants to get up front. Myself, I always found that it was easier for me to try to navigate and see how things unfold during the race and then slowly make my way up. I'm a pit stop guy, so I was always excited to include green flag pit stops and try to make up positions there as well. So it's really a chess match of what your particular personality is. And we're going to find out tonight who those people are. The ones that want to get right up front, they're going to do their best to get there. And the ones that want to ride it out and see what happens, they're going to do exactly what they want as well.
Absolutely. Speaking of doing what they want, Andrew Miller is going to hit the loud pedal. He's going to get this party started. We are under green here at Daytona, and already we've got one car going through the grass at the back of the field. Meanwhile, the race is most certainly on. Greg Evans snatches the lead from Andrew Miller. Andrew Miller fights Greg Evans for the lead. Michael Moquin has moved to second. Greg Evans is third. Jason Heaney fourth. Pat O'Brien fifth as they thunder down the backstretch for the first time. 300 miles lie ahead for these guys. Do want to thank everybody as we kick this AMA season off. Everybody who's watching, everybody who's supporting the stream. Say hey, Lewis Hayes. We've got a Greg Evans fan in the house with us. And thank you so much for Christy Light for joining us, cheering on Christian. And so glad to have you. If you do like the coverage and you do want to support the stream, easiest way you can do that: smash the like button on the video, hit the subscribe button to the channel. That would be huge in support of our efforts here at P1 Broadcasting. The YouTube algorithm game is always a fun one, and so we definitely appreciate your support with that. We're gonna get the leaderboard up now. Again, we know that a lot of these are unfortunately gonna show as just rookie. We will continue to call out the names that go with those numbers as we go along. Sam, right now, Mike Rigney checks in. He says he's a Sam fan. Mike, so am I.
I never knew that it could be such a thing as a Sam fan. Who knows? Who knows how these things work out?
Who knows?
It looks like it's taken a minute for the top line to kind of materialize for Greg. It just didn't seem to kind of pull together at the beginning of the race, but here it is. Now they're starting to make a move going into one.
Yeah, and it's always interesting to see how the lines form here to me, Sam. Sometimes the bottom will get going, sometimes the top. Right now, the front 3 or 4 at that top line are more organized. The bottom line has more cars in it. There is nobody that has dropped off the back of the field. We don't have any stragglers. Keith Graham in 31st is 2 laps down in the 31 in the 09 machine, but everybody from Sean Mott in 30th all the way up to Andrew Miller, they're covered by 2.7 seconds. That's not a lot.
No, it's not, but everything happens incredibly fast at these races anyway. And it looks like Miller's going to decide that he wants to ride that high line as well. It's really interesting in these particular cars. The speed differentials at different places on the racetrack.
Whoa, we got trouble in the back. Trouble in the back. Caution is out. Caution is out. That is the 21 of Brandon Bernier, and he has gone for a wild ride through turns 1 and 2. Brandon Bernier upside down comes to rest right in front of the 5. Right in front of the number 5 machine is Sean Mott. Heavy damage as he takes the barrel roll. Beauty of a stock car, though. Long as the wheels are on it, Sam, you keep right on trucking.
Exactly. As long as you can keep the car pointing in the right direction and the wheels are rolling, you're right.
So let's see what's befallen Brandon Bernier here. He's kind of in that spot, running roughly somewhere between 10th and 15th. He's on the top line. He's right behind the 05 of Noah Abbott. And he's got the 13 car of Kyle Heath coming behind him. And let's see what happens. Looks like he's already got the rear end of that Camaro caved in a little bit.
I wonder if he may have made some wall contact at some point.
You know, it looked like he was trying to get hooked up with Noah Abbott. The thing kind of busted loose with him a little bit, maybe a little bit of contact from Kyle Heath. But that car was already starting to go around almost at corner entry, gets onto the apron, tries to correct back up into the pack, and we are under.
That's an oversteer issue. I mean, that's actually a reactionary issue, just closing speed and then trying to avoid. And it's an over input to the wheel, it looks like to me.
Yeah, it could be.
And then after that, he's really just trying to save the car.
You know, he most certainly is. Let's get in here and ride with Nolan Milnes. The sun is not doing these guys any favors, but watch this Darrell Waltrip Gatorade painted machine. That's going to be back from the '88 days with DieGuard. But you see the car get loose, and this is quarter speed, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have enough time to react at quarter speed. It's very difficult to kind of pick where you go. Nolan Milnes does an awesome job. He gets it down to the apron. He sees him coming down the track. We'll just keep going lower to the grass. The number 1 comes through unscathed. So great job by Nolan Milnes to avoid.
Oh, no question. Absolutely. Everything happens so incredibly fast here, especially when you're so bunched together as these cars are.
Most certainly does. We do have some takers on pit road. There's George Glover, Sean Merriman, Sean Mott, Donald Green, Corey Swagger, Brandon Bernier, obviously on pit road. We'll go show his car. Brandon Bernier took the wild ride in the 21, the United Rentals on that Camaro. But he's in for a lengthy repair. So is Brian Sharp, Dylan Godinez, and Keith Graham, all on the pit lane for lengthy service here. So to kind of reset the field for you, Michael Moquin is your leader. He is in the number 8. Andrew Miller is in the 40. He runs second. Jason Heaney is third. Greg Evans fourth. Pat O'Brien in the 07 is fifth. Corey Crandall is sixth. Colin Cole seventh. Michael Kirk 8th. Colby Pierce is ninth. Edwin James is going to round out your top 10. In the 96, Christian Light. So there he is. There he is, Christy. Your guy is running 11th. Great job early on for Christian Light. Kendall Paul, the defending champion, is 12th. We're going to have Noah Abbott in 13th, Justin Osterman 14th, and Kyle Heath is 15th. John Hutchins 16th, Ted Craven 17th, Trevor Benz 18th, Mark Allett is 19th, and Adam O'Brien round out your top 20. Nolan Milnes, after that ride that he took through the through the grass there, he's going to line up 21st. No damage on that car. Jason Southard 22nd. George Glover is 23rd. He stopped, but he was only in the box for 8.1 seconds. So George Glover may have come in, got some gas, got a new pair of shoes. Sean Mott is 24th in the number 5. Merriman and Swagger have gotten off of pit lane, as has Donald Green and Dylan Godinez. Bernier, Sharp, and Graham all still on pit road, and those cars are all laps down. Dylan Godinez 28th is 1 down. Brandon Bernier is 2 laps in arrears, as is Brian Sharp, and Keith Graham 6 laps off the pace here early at Daytona. Do want to thank everybody for watching P1 Broadcasting's coverage of the American Motorsports Association Black Magic Studios 300 from here at Daytona. Do want to thank some sponsors, pay some bills out here for us. To begin with, definitely want to thank Archway Industrial Coatings. They're a St. Louis-based floor coating company that has been getting the job done for years. Archway's epoxy and urethane flooring solutions withstand the test of time while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They're committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. Archway Industrial Coatings, the official premier sponsor of the American Motorsports Association. Also, got to give a plug out there to Black Magic Studios. They'll give you a paint worth 2/10. We're getting ready, Sam, to come back toward green flag action, though.
Yes, sir. The lights are out on the pace car, and we're going to be coming straight to the start-finish line. They're bunching up 2 by 2, and we're hoping that things will settle down this particular time so that they can get at least into the stage break.
Absolutely, we're going to have that stage
some
break.
Cars have already had some trouble at the beginning of the race. Maybe they can get some repairs and get back into the fray.
Yeah, and with those stage breaks, and with the stage breaks and really the propensity to have caution flags at a track like Daytona, even if you're Dylan Godinez or Brandon Bernier, a lap down, 3 laps down, Brian Sharp, as long as you're out there circulating, and as long as you can kind of keep up with this pack and not get any further behind, you still got a shot at this thing.
Right. If you could say there was any kind of silver lining to an early crash, as long as the damage can be repaired within a reasonable amount of time, then you can really bank on the idea that maybe you can get those laps back, whether it be a lucky dog or even race your way back up and earn it the hard way. So there are those possibilities, especially in a race that has this many laps.
Absolutely, and you've got a shot. If you're in it, it's like a poker game up here. If you're in the race, if you're on the track, if you got a chip and a chair, you've got a chance to win. Speaking of winning, shout out to Bubba Wallace. He's going to take dual 1 at Daytona. Justin Allgaier races his way in for Dale Earnhardt Jr. In the number 40 machine. It's odd to see Earnhardt owning a 40, but I digress. That car is in the Daytona 500, the real one that'll happen this Sunday. So we've got one eye on the race recap. We got one eye on Fox Sports 1 watching the duels, and we've got one eye on the action here. Michael Moquin, your leader. Jason Heaney has made it up to second, and Pat O'Brien is now third. Those are the front three, and they have, I don't want to say separated themselves, but they've got the front three are clear. Next in line is Milner in the 40 and Crandall in the 35, top to bottom. They're occupying what is roughly fourth and fifth. Greg Evans has moved himself to sixth. He's in the deuce. The red and white car, familiar to viewers on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Greg Evans has moved it up to sixth, and so he fell back a little bit from the start, but Greg doing a good job out there, as we would expect, Sam.
Oh, no question. Greg has a lot of experience in stock cars. He's been racing for a number of years. Greg and I are great friends. He's won in about every venue that you could. Oh, we have a wreck in the back of the field. Right, one car's in the outside wall.
That's going to be Mark Olette in the number 80 machine, and
they're checking up into one really hard. Man, it was almost another accident in one.
Do see that everybody has gotten away with it, and let's have a crack at what's going on with the number 80. And it appears as though Sean Mott also involved, but there's Mark Alouette in the number 80 machine, coming off of turn 4. Now that is Calamity Corner here, Sam. It narrows up over there, and the number 5 kind of got loose up on the top, came back down, saved it right into the side of the 80, and both of those cars hard.
Yeah, the car got really light there, and he was trying to save it. You could see how the behavior of the car as it began to move a little bit as it come off 4 and then coming down and catching the 80 in the right rear.
That's a hard lick, and then the 08 of Dylan Godinez, he's going to get right into the back of the 5, and so double damage for Godinez earlier. He was involved in the earlier fracas. Caution waves on the speedway. Michael Moquin is your leader. I do want to thank everybody who's out there watching. We do have a lot of people watching this race tonight, and so do want to thank everybody. If you do like the broadcast and respect the stream, go ahead and smash that like button on the video. Ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. We definitely do appreciate that here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. Sam, there are more people watching this than normally tune into our normal IndyCar Monday and Tuesday night broadcast. 40 people.
Is that right?
Yeah, there are 40 people.
How is that possible?
Currently, Ken Dale's got
everyone that could be tuning in tonight can tune into some excellent racing in the IndyCar series, whether it be in ISRA or official races. Take it from a stock car guy. Those gentlemen and people who chose the open wheel racers as their premier focus, they have all my respect because those cars demand so much dedication and time and ability. And so the races are good, and there's so much going on behind the scenes that you don't know. I would encourage anyone that's tuning in these cup races, tune into those open wheel races. You're going to get just as much excitement on P1 Broadcasting.
Well, Sam, he mentioned dedication, and he mentioned dedication and concentration. That's why he's always beaten me in those cars.
I've never beat you in an open wheel car.
We'll have to put me in a stock car. We can even up that score. We've got 109 laps to go, 21 laps down here in the AMA Blackmagic Studios, 300 from Daytona. Once again, Michael Moquin is your leader. Jason Heaney second, Pat O'Brien third, Corey Crandall fourth, Andrew Miller is fifth, Greg Evans sixth, Colin Cole is seventh, Noah Abbott eighth, Colby Pierce ninth, Michael Kirk is 10th, Christian Light runs 11th. Defending champ Kendall Paul is 12th. John Hutchins 13th. Ted Craven 14th. Trevor Benz in the number 3. He is 15th. Edwin James 16th.
Speaking of Trevor, I got a little tickle when you were talking about Earnhardt in a 40, and then I noticed that livery, that very famous silver number 3 livery that Trevor Benz is driving. There is a great story behind that car, and the gentleman that was working with diecast at that time and really bringing them into the sport, he was looking to to up sales and give. He had this great arrangement with Earnhardt, and so he told Earnhardt he go now. This is the true story. He goes to Earnhardt and he tells him, he says, "You need to drive a different color car so that we can have more diecast sales." And Earnhardt says, "I'm not doing that. I drive a black car, and that's the bottom line." But eventually, he talked Earnhardt and Richard Childress into painting a silver car, and this car was painted with the sole purpose of making more money on die-cast sales. And so I just found that to be, and I love this car. I love this livery. It is one of the most famous of Earnhardt's liveries outside of his black car.
Yeah, that was back. That was back in the good old days when they ran the Winston at Charlotte on a Saturday night, and
Exactly. Yes.
that used to be. If I go back and pull out the old Winston Cup yearbooks from the early '90s, and I still have all of them. You remember those, Sam? The old leather-bound ones they used to give out at the banquet.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I've got every one of those from 1990 to 2000.
Wow.
But
Wow, that's impressive.
that used to be the weekend of the Winston used to really be the only weekend that you would see special schemes or throwbacks or anything like that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
That in Darlington for Throwback Weekend. Hmm.
yeah, that would really be the only time you'd see something special were those 2 weeks. But it really kind of started at the Winston, and it really started
It did.
almost
This car.
with that car. Yeah, that was really the
This car is the one that ignited the special scheme to promote more diecast sales.
Yep. And now, of course,
Rusty Wallace was actually offered the opportunity to repaint his car at that particular time, and he absolutely refused. And rumor is that he missed out on six-figure paychecks because of it.
hey, you're gonna have to stand for something, right? Here we come back to the start.
Yeah.
Michael Moquin is your leader. Jason Heaney is second. Pat O'Brien third. Corey Crandall fourth. Andrew Miller is fifth. Evan sixth. Cole seventh. Abbott eighth. Pierce ninth. And Michael Kirk is 10th as we come back. 108 laps to go here in the Black Magic Studios. 300 for the Black Magic Studios Grand National Series. Michael Moquin gets on the loud pedal, and Sam, I think he might have got out there too far.
Yeah, it would be very easy to want to get started in the Geico restart zone at these tracks ahead of the green flag, and it can cost you if you go out too far, especially if the field behind you gets all the momentum. It really can make a difference.
And it has made that difference. You saw Michael Moquin. He charged out to the lead. That lasted all of about half a lap. Andrew Miller,
half a lap.
Yeah, Andrew Miller gets to the top spot. He's got Pat O'Brien right there to his inside in second. But the bottom line is a little bit disorganized, Sam.
Yep, and they're actually three wide back in the middle of the field as well, and that could actually separate some of the drafting ability of the two lines and the momentum that they would have as well. I saw where Sean Mott is actually apologizing for the incident of the last caution. He's apologizing to those that were involved. He was having a little difficulty coming off the four, as we said.
Absolutely, no worries. We do have the founder, Gary Godso, P1 Broadcasting Network's grand boss is in the house. He's watching. Gary, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule to come in here and enjoy some stock car action. We are 106 laps to go here in the Black Magic Studios. 300. Michael Moquin and Andrew Miller are exchanging that lead. Pat O'Brien, though, he's coming to the front. He is tucked right up underneath the rear spoiler of that number 40. He's going to try to push him to the lead, and he's got some help from the 17 of Colin Cole.
You can see these cars actually whenever they're going on entry into 3 and into 1, the movement. There is so much movement in these cars, especially on the preload as you're entering into 1 and 3. The preload is so much that if you're not paying close attention, you'll walk the car up. And it makes it when you're drafting in that instance, it makes it very difficult to maintain a steady draft if you cannot make that entry well. It's important to do that, but it's also equally as important to make sure that you watch your water temp and how much you're pushing, and you're looking ahead as much as you're looking just to the car right in front of you.
Absolutely. Now, this is a great, you're exactly right, Sam, and this is a great shot. We're on board with Colin Cole. You can see these cars, how much they move around. You also can tell from this vantage point, which is more or less about where Colin's right eyeball would be. You can see exactly how much these cars move around.
Yes,
So
sir.
not only do you have very little visibility, Sam, but the cars are almost dancing on a knife's edge. These things move around a lot more. These things
In the
move.
Cup car,
Yeah, they do. Well, they don't have the
they
underbody.
do.
They don't have the diffusers.
That's exactly right. The arrow is totally different on these cars. That's why a lot of purists in iRacing feel that this is a driver's car, and that there a lot of the ability to maneuver this car is reliant on the skill of the person who is behind the wheel. And so that's why it is such a draw for more seasoned drivers and a challenge for new drivers.
Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right. Of all the stock cars that are in the service, I don't own the '87. At some point, I'm going to have to go get me a Buick Regal and put. I'm going to have to go get me a Buick Regal and paint it black. But be I won't cut a hole in it though, like Kendrick Lamar did at the Super Bowl. Is that?
Oh, well, thank you for that.
Is it bad that I watched the Super Bowl show? I watched the Super Bowl, and the only thing that I came away with
It's
an
only
opinion
bad
about,
if you keep talking about it.
the only thing I came back with an opinion about after the Super Bowl was Kendrick Lamar destroyed a perfectly good Grand National.
And
that's
definitely breaking a lot of purist hearts.
Yeah, you're exactly right there, Sam. The battle at the front continues unabated. You got Andrew Miller on the outside, Pat O'Brien on the inside. Row 2 is Michael Moquin in the 8, Colin Cole in the 17, Colby Pierce and Jason Heaney make up row 3. It looks like the start of this race as we approach 100 to go.
Right, and then there's players that were at the beginning of the race that were out front, like Greg Evans, and now he's settled in the 12th spot. And then you have others like Kyle Heath, who has worked his way up to 13th from the back of the field. And so there's different strategies playing out even now, and we're only 20 laps into the event and watching how they're trying to get their feel with the drivers that they may or may not have already been racing around.
You're quite right, Sam. And, Mike Rigney, guy, love Mike. He's quite right to point out in the chat, they're not even racing yet. They're just kind of riding around and trying to make it to this stage break. We've got 10 to go until that happens. Once that does happen, we're going to attempt to get some drivers up here. Once pit stops have taken place and all those things, we can talk to anybody who is in the AMA server, in the chat, in the Discord. We can bring them up here. We can talk to them, pick their brains, their thoughts, kind of figure out what's going on within that pack. And I already have my eye on the guy I want to talk to. It won't necessarily be the stage winner, but it will be somebody in the field, and we're gonna bring him up here. But we've got 10 laps to go before that happens. Pat O'Brien is wanting to lead, and he's wanting the bonus points for winning the stage for sure.
And I noticed that Michael Moquin is not giving the bumper of the 40 any rest. Andrew Miller is probably by this time thinking that he has no paint left on the back of that car whatsoever. Oh, and Moquin gets all dangerously close to the wall.
Yes, he
coming
did.
Off of 4. And I know what he's doing. He's trying to get a little bit more momentum so that he can push, but he really fell back so much that it really cost that spot for Miller up front.
It most certainly did. And Sam, you mentioned the pushing. There were cars that came in during practice, and I sincerely, they looked like they had the rear bumpers caved in. Kind of talk to me though about linking up, because I'm not as familiar with these cars as you are. Kind of talk about linking up and how long you can do it before those gauges redline, and kind of what's your strategy for bump drafting versus laying off and getting some air into the radiators.
Oh, this is there's a dynamic here that I always try to achieve whenever I'm pushing. If I'm leading, it's just a matter of keeping a steady wheel, because if you don't keep a steady wheel when you're in the front of the line, then you really can alter what's going on behind you. You could really cost yourself, because the person behind you isn't aware of exactly what you're doing, and they could actually catch too much of the left rear, too much of the right rear, and spin you off into the infield. But when I'm pushing in these particular cars, if it's a two-car draft, then typically you can latch just onto the bumper. You don't want to keep beating on the bumper, but you just want to get really, really close and make sure that you stay as close and in line as you can in a two-car draft. If it's more than a two-car draft, then a lot of the momentum is dependent on the third car in the draft and how close he is. And then the second place car has a tendency to want to get runs. And what I mean by runs is you have your gap, and then you want to close that gap in certain intervals on the track to get the most speed in your line. Typically, a lot of drivers like to get that big push coming off of 2 down the backstretch, and then coming off of 4 coming into the tri-oval. You want to vehemently avoid doing that in the tri-oval itself, simply because the car is incredibly light there, and you can cause someone to spin. Usually, if you're in a tandem or you're extremely close to the car in front of you, you could probably get 5 or 6 laps before you really start noticing the water temp starting to go through the roof, and then you'll have to air the car out a little bit.
I'll tell you what, I can tell you who's been pushed a little bit here at Daytona this evening. We're on the roof cam for Trevor Benz. He is looking up the road at the 96 of Christian Light.
Question.
Christian Light has been bump drafted this evening. If you look at the back bumper of that Camaro, and we've got lap traffic.
It's not frowning at you, folks. It's not frowning at you.
That is a dent. I'd imagine that when we get to the caution flag,
Oh,
pit
got some
stops.
cars backing off, coming out for it stops.
We've got cars in the wall as well. We've got cars around.
That's what I thought.
22's around. No yellow. There's the yellow.
Caution is out.
That's George Glover in the 22 machine, and there were several
Oh,
cars.
and he comes down right in front of the field. Oh my heavens!
So
That is some massive damage.
Well, we had lap cars, and the field was splitting them, and it appears as though the 6 car and George Glover get together in 3. And you're right. George Glover is going to come down. He's running smack in the middle. They start to get together. You see the 08 finally tags the 6. 54 is involved. That is Michael Kirk. And from there, it's on.
Yeah. It just seemed to be chaos after that particular part. It looked like some were. Wow, that is massive contact by the 6 into the wall. That'll definitely be wheel damage there.
It is hard, and you can see the wheel damage from the roof cam.
And then once George Glover, once he comes back in front of the
Boom.
field, he gets collected several times.
Poor Kendall Paul. We're gonna go back and relive his view of this accident, because poor Kendall Paul, he had it missed until the very, very end, and and then just absolutely through the smoke, there appears the 22, and big damage for Kendall Paul in that Archway Industrial Coatings Black Magic Studios machine. It's a tough break for the defending winner. He'll get back in and get it fixed as best he can, but I don't know if you're going to come back from damage like that. So we've got a bunch of cars on pit road, 94 to go. I don't know that this would end the stage.
We're on lap 26, so we're a couple of laps short of that. It'll be close.
It will be very close indeed. Christy Light says she's nervous. Don't you worry, we're nervous for him too. There's Christian Light in the 96. He's clearly using the opportunity here to effect repair to that machine. That caved-in rear bumper, it's not going to hurt it a lot, but if he ever gets out and tries the lead, it will. And you see the car kind of blink and glitch out and disconnect. No worries, he is rolling away after spending 41 seconds in his pit box.
And it looks like Dylan Godinez has been disconnected. He's had some connection issues.
Most certainly has. And there's Kendall Paul's machine as it gets worked on. We're going to try to get back to the front of this field. and reset it for you. So Colin Cole is your leader. Pat O'Brien is second. Andrew Miller third. Colby Pierce fourth. Michael Moquin rounds out your top five. Jason Heaney in the 9. He is sixth. 35. Corey Crandall is seventh. Trevor Benz in the aforementioned silver number 3. And we'll go ahead and show it. It's worth it. There it is. The silver number 3. He is 8th. Kyle Heath in the 13th. In the 13 is 9th. Lucky 13 for Kyle. Ted Craven is going to round out your top 10 with the teddy bear. In 11th, our good friend Greg Evans, 12th. Noah Abbott in the 05. Michael Kirk is 13th in the 54. Corey Swagger, 14th in the 33. And Justin Osterman, that's another guy that drove prototypes with me at Daytona. He was in the sister car. Justin Osterman, that's a guy that is 100% lightning quick. So watch out for him. Maybe not necessarily here at Daytona, but future races down the line. Justin Osterman in the 53.
Driver is a driver.
Yeah, racer's a racer.
No matter what you put him in. That's exactly right.
Racer's a racer.
No matter what you put him in.
There's the 33. In 16th, you've got the number 1 of Nolan Milnes. 17th is Christian Light. He's got his car fixed, Mama. He's going to be all right. But he has dropped back to 15th or 16th now, depending on how you line it up. Nolan Milnes in the 1 is 17th. Sean Merriman 18th. John Hutchins 19th. And Edwin James in the 46 is going to round out your top 20. Adam O'Brien, Jason Southard, Dylan Godinez, and Keith Graham have all disconnected. George Glover, Kendall Paul, Donald Green, Sean Mott, Mark Ouellette, Brandon Bernier, and Brian Sharp are all on pit lane, affecting lengthy repair. In the case of Bernier and Sharp, they've been on pit lane for 27 minutes. So I don't know if they're going to get it all the way fixed, but if they can, come out here and make a couple of laps, this is a championship, Sam. You can come out and make a couple of laps, gain a spot or two. That can be big when it comes down to playoff time.
Oh, no question. I'm trying to listen into some of the in-race chat as Donald Green is trying to give some reasoning about where he stood in the middle of that melee that just happened. And then some of the drivers are talking about the extensive damage to their cars, Kendall Paul being one of them. And so there's a lot of chatter going on about that particular incident and the toll that it took on those that were involved.
I'm sure it has, and it's got to be a disappointment for Kendall. I know, he's a pretty good friend of mine, and I know Kendall very much looks forward to these races, not just from a league director standpoint, but he looks forward to them from a competitor. He loves doing this, and he's very good at it. So tough break to see him an early pedestrian here in the 300. The pace car is ready to duck on off. Field under control of Colin Cole. Pat O'Brien to his outside. The race is back on.
Yes, and Kendall Paul has indicated there will be a lap 30 stage break call.
Okay, so we're gonna kind of have a 3-lap shootout here for the stage points.
Yes, sir.
And just because I absolutely love our fans and the tools that were provided from Whiplash SimCams, we're going to watch it like we're watching it from the grandstand. So this would be if you were from a motorhome in turn 2 or in the backstretch. Infield in turn 3. You can watch it just like
you're
you're
getting ready to find out too. Honestly, in these particular instances, you'll find out very quickly too, just who is hungry for stage points and who is not hungry for stage points. You'll find out who puts significance on those points, as well as those who would say, okay, I would just rather just finish the race instead of fighting for just a few points. Miller goes to the outside.
You're quite right there, Sam. And historically, we've seen some pretty big.
Oh, Miller saves it in turn 1.
That's why you wear white gloves, right there, fans. That's why you wear white gloves.
No question.
You are quite right, but Andrew Miller hangs on to it. He's got Colin Cole to the inside in that 17 machine. Miller in the 40. They've got Colby Pierce in the 42. He pushed me to victory lane in the trucks in this series last year at Talladega. Colby Pierce definitely knows how to get it done. He's searching to the inside. Is he going to have time to make the move, or is he just going to push the 17 through?
That's a very dangerous place right there. You see the cars jostling very, very hard there at the end going into the tri-oval because the car is incredibly light. Great job by all the drivers to pull through there and make that happen.
Most certainly. And so we've got our first stage caution. Sam, that gives us a chance to catch our breath.
Woo!
One of the
lot going on for 30 laps.
So we talked about a guy, and once pit stops are done, I'm gonna get him up here. But we talked about a guy who had been in the back, kind of went back, kind of hung out in the back, and might have been keeping his powder dry. That's firecracker veteran Kyle Heath. He came up there and finished.
And guess who's in fourth?
Yeah, they were about ready. They were about ready to start paying points and money. Kyle Heath, right to the front.
Certainly a patient and a very cerebral drive to the front just for the first stage. It was a great effort.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get these cars to pass cars here, because you form up in two lines, and from the layman's perspective, and as somebody who's done this very badly in the past, from a layman's perspective, it almost feels like you can't pass. You just kind of get stuck in a line. It's very difficult for me to make moves.
Sure.
Certainly in this Talladega is a little bit easier because it's much wider, but Daytona, very difficult to make moves.
Well, I know early in the broadcast you had mentioned yourself, and we probably not put as much importance on it, which we should in this particular instance because of the venue, but we have so many drivers here that are rookies to this particular league, and so you have to ask the question, who is involved in a team and who is not involved in a team? And I'll just use Greg Evans as an example. Greg Evans comes in as a lone driver. He probably doesn't. I did speak with him briefly today, and he doesn't know any of these drivers or have raced with any of these drivers. So he has to find people that are willing to work with him, or people that are in a capacity that he can work with them or they can work with him. And so he feels like a lot of times in these races, you can feel like you're all alone. You're on an island if you don't have some help. Whereas you've mentioned on many occasions that there are several drivers in here who belong to a team, and they're looking for those fellow teammates to help them navigate and get speed, because there is speed in numbers. And so when you have that aspect working in your favor, it helps you a lot. But if you are that man on the island, then it really ups the amount of work that it takes to finish well in these races.
100%, Sam. Speaking of guys that charge to the front, we're gonna go ahead and grab Kyle Heath. I'm gonna pull him up to the booth if I can manage to arrange it. Maybe. Maybe not. Don't know if it's going to let me do it, Sam.
You want me to try?
Yeah, see if you can move Kyle Heath up here. See if you can pull him up.
Oh, I see the difficulty you're having now. Yeah, it won't allow me either.
Let me see if I can manually drag him, maybe.
That's what I was trying to do.
Well, no, it's not going to let us do it. That's
right.
another thing to put on the glitch list.
Absolutely.
We do want to thank everybody with their patience for the scoring pylon. As Gary Godso, our founder and chief over here at P1 Broadcasting, has told us, if you don't put a space between the last name and the rookie parentheses, it won't put their name in the scoring pylon. So we'll get that corrected for next week. We were wanting to pull drivers into the booth under yellow. We were unable to do that just simply because of a technical glitch with Discord. That's okay. It's the first time out. We will most certainly get that squared away. Do want to give a shout out to some of our other sponsors this evening. Admin Box. You'll see Admin Box on the side of the number 42 machine of Colby Pierce. If you're a race controller out there and you'd like to have a little bit of an easier time, check out Admin Box. Get in touch with Fish. They make an awesome product. I've got one sitting on my rig. But if you're an admin and you want to just be able to hit a button to throw a yellow or clear a black flag, get you an admin box. Brakes control at the touch of a button. We are 88 laps.
And the lights are out.
We are 88 laps to go and the lights are out. We better quit selling admin boxes and start calling races here, Sam.
We'll try the driver thing again. I may have found something that'll work.
We may. We don't want to do that when they're under green, though.
No, absolutely not. No, I would not do that.
Sean Merriman is going to hit the loud pedal. And, Christy, you don't have to be nervous. Christian has got up to the front of the field. He is on the outside of the front row as we come back to green flag action. Michael Moquin is going to push Sean Merriman out to that lead, but Christian Light right there in third.
Once again, the outside line is having a little bit of difficulty trying to gather itself together. Oh, and the 42 gets pushed down below the yellow line coming on the backstretch. Leaves a gaping hole on the bottom side.
He most certainly did, but Colby is going to save it, and it doesn't appear as though he's going to lose the draft. Even if he does, there's another car that's kind of straggling along back there. So Colby is going to be just fine, just needs to be patient, get the car back in line, get it wound back up. He'll be all right.
He does a great job saving the car.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing. He keeps four wheels on it, keeps it pointed in the right direction, nothing damaged. He knows there's going to be a yellow here within the next 26 laps. All is well. Do want to point out that Sean Merriman is your leader in the number 18. Michael Moquin is second in the number 8. Christian Light is third. Now goes to second in the 96. And Christy, he's going to bid for the lead here down the backstretch. He's got help from the 40 and Andrew Miller. The 17 of Colin Cole is to their inside, and they've got the 07 of Pat O'Brien right behind them.
This is a position that Miller hadn't been in too often tonight, as he's usually been in the clean air up front. But now he finds himself trying to push Christian Light up to the front, and Sean Merriman is not going to have any part of it, especially if we take into consideration that Michael Moquin has been the penultimate pusher tonight. He has pushed everybody in the field, it seems like, that's been on that front row.
You know he has, and there's a huge difference in the handling of the race car being in clean air as opposed to being back in that pack. Not only is the car a lot less solid, it's going to start moving around quite a bit more.
No question.
But it changes the handling characteristics, right? You get air on the nose. The thing handles a lot. It turns a lot better with clean air on the thing than it does if you're, if you're somebody like the 53 of Justin Osterman. He's moved up into the top 10, right behind Pat O'Brien, and those are teammates. So the 47 and the 53, those are teammates. They are both out of that Dark Horse Interstellar collaboration, the Dark Horse Performance Interstellar Esports Black Magic Sim collaboration. But those guys...
That is such a mouthful. I'm so glad that you're saying that.
Well, I kind of have to know it, and I kind of have to be able to say it. I'm on the team.
I was getting ready to say you have a lot of experience to have to say that.
Just wait until Brian Sharp starts offering you Big Jim's cookies. That's the that's the one that you want. That's the sponsorship.
Hey, there's cookies in this? No one told me there were cookies.
Oh, Big Jim's cookies. If you want to gain 15 pounds in 10 minutes, get you some Big Jim's cookies. Them things are...
Well, then I'm going to have to... apparently, I've been out of the loop on that. No one has said anything about cookies.
If you take Sam Crow cookies, that's a way to a man's heart. We've got another car that got kicked out of the line.
Sure is. Noah Abbott is not happy. Michael Moquin is responding to that, but Noah is not happy.
No, he's not. Colby Pierce, by the way, we're going to go back flip-flop back. I thought he might have been able to keep the draft. Colby was unable to do so. He's got John Hutchins back there, but John's got wrinkles on the front of that 72, and so Colby has lost the draft. He is 2.7 seconds slower than the pack. So Colby's just got to keep it. He's got to keep it right on the bottom on the in the No Pass Media admin box machine.
Yep. When you're by yourself, it is painstakingly low. Everything moves in absolute slow motion when you're running by yourself, knowing that the pack is constantly interval pulling away, pulling away, pulling away, pulling away. It's nerve wracking to no end at these racetracks.
You know it is. The other thing, if you're Colby, though, you just got to kind of keep your head about you, your wits about you. There's only one other car a lap down. That's Edwin James, and Edwin James has pretty severe damage to his machine.
We have another stage as well.
Yeah, so you're going to have another. You're going to have it. You know you're going to have a caution in 22 laps. You know there's a lucky dog. Just keep 4 tires on it. Keep it going. Keep it going straight. You'll be all right.
Oh yeah, there'll be quite a number of laps before they would even catch him. I mean, Colby is secure for a while. And if he catches a caution, all of that is a moot point anyway.
100%. 100%. So the 18, Sean Merriman, leads it. Christian Light in the 96 is second, dueling with...
Big push by Miller. Pushes Christian Light to the lead. What a push on the backstretch.
There you go, Mama. You don't have to be nervous. Christian Light goes to the lead in the number 96 machine.
He did not waste one moment either. He pulled immediately down in front of Sean Merriman.
No, and you can't, because you get out there a little bit too far and you've got a car that's got momentum in another line. They're going to go right back past you just as quick as you gain that lead. And now we've got a lapped car.
Miller, close to the wall again.
We've got a lapped car. Is that...
the 72?
That's going to
John Hutchins?
Yeah, that's going to be John Hutchins. So Hutchins goes a second lap down, and that benefits. That's going to benefit Colby Pierce, because that means even if he does get lapped, there are no other cars a lap down other than Edwin James, and we know Edwin James has pretty severe damage as well.
And Pat O'Brien is now flexing his muscle as he pushed Miller out to the front and then found an opening and a window enough on the bottom that he pulls in front of Christian Light.
100%. Pat O'Brien's one of those guys that you would call sneaky good at these places. He's very, very good at restrictor plate racing. Very savvy in the draft.
Apparently very happy with someone right now, telling them they're number one.
You know, it would be a. I'm glad that iRacing does not allow our avatars in the car to make hand gestures or use hand signals. The service would be a much different place if that was the case. 53, that's Justin Osterman. He's going to go to the lead off the nose of Pat O'Brien. They've got Christian Light.
Greg Evans gets into the back of Miller and gets him a little bit squirrely, but Greg is a great pusher. He's going to probably be able to close that gap a little bit enough to start giving Miller the momentum that he needs.
Right on cue. You've got the 53. Osterman kind of glitches out, and that's going to make everybody around him nervous. But right on cue, Greg Evans from the roof. He's going to go right to the back of Andrew Miller and try to give him a shot down this long backstretch. Formerly called the super stretch. Should we still call it the super stretch or not anymore?
It was called the super stretch when there were still stands back there, but it's not called the super stretch anymore. Not since they did the renovations.
You know, it's kind of funny, you know, we mentioned the super stretch and the renovations and the huge grandstand that used to be back there. As I recall, there was also a short track back there at one point.
At one time, you'd have to ask a little bit more versed person in Daytona history. I know the dog track was not far from there, but I don't know about the short track.
Well, and you can even have a fishing tournament in Lake Lloyd if you want to have one. You see the body.
Yes, no question. They have had bass tournaments there.
Are you allowed to? So, like Indianapolis has the golf course, but the golf course is closed to the public during the month of May. Only drivers and crew members and sponsors and owners and so forth can play there during the month. What's fishing like at Daytona? Can you fish in Lake Lloyd? Can anybody go fish in Lake Lloyd, or is it closed off?
I have seen people that have fished. I have in the past. I know in the past when I've been there, I've seen people that have fished in the lake. I don't know if it's by permit only, or there's been some commercials actually of where drivers have been out there and fished either from the shore or from a bass boat doing a promo or something like that. I have seen things like that have gone on in the lake at Daytona.
You know, and that's kind of funny. We were talking about the silver Dale Earnhardt liveried machine, the number 3. that's out there with Trevor Benz. There was a time that Dale Earnhardt Sr. had won every form of competition that had ever been completed at the Daytona International Speedway, including a fishing tournament in Lake Lloyd, but he had not won the Daytona 500. We do have some glitches going on, I think, in the server. It's causing some of these guys to blink, and that may be on my end. Sometimes
I'm running through the field in the server right now at the moment, and I'm not seeing too many glitches as far as the body warping or anything like that. I'm not seeing a lot of that in the server with many other race cars.
And it could just be it is right at peak load, 9:30 Eastern here where I am. Even though we have fiber connections, it sometimes it gets a little bit slower right about this time,
sir.
And so you just we kind of have to roll with it. Something I just noticed, it's starting to get darker out here at Daytona with 75 laps to go.
It shouldn't be long before the lights come on.
I'll tell you what, I looked down. I was watching. I found myself watching the race there. I looked in the 40. If you look at the angle that we're at, you can see the lights are starting to come on the dashes of these cars. And speaking of lights,
approaching the lap car coming up here.
There's Justin Osterman. He is looking out the front.
Actually, very carefully, they are starting to pull away. That outside line has just not been able to organize as well.
Greg Evans is kind of giving up, pushing for a little bit up there too, I think.
Sean pulled up to the outside line. You'll see them catch that outside line draft. Will be able to pull up a little bit more now. Greg Evans is going to get enough momentum to give those 5 cars on the outside a little bit more speed.
Now I was going to ask you, because again, I don't do this very often. I know the side draft is not as prevalent in the next gen cars just because of the aerodynamics. Those cars built very similarly to an IMSA GT3 car.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't side draft very well. We haven't seen guys really close together in this one attempting to side draft, but do these cars side draft, and how does that work? How would you make that work if you were Sean Merriman and you were trying to claw your way back up toward the front here?
Well, if you pay close attention to, I told you that the lines will work in a type of momentum. You'll find that the bottom line has a tendency to make better entry, and so they will gain. The bottom line will usually gain on entry into 1 and 3, whereas the outside lines have a tendency to get more momentum as you go down the straightaways when you come off of the corners, and so that's where they find their momentum. And with that, I have learned for myself, that side draft works primarily. It will stabilize the lines on the front stretch or the front or the back stretch. Whereas if you have a tendency to understand the momentum where it gains, especially on the outside line, you can really get close to the cars in the corners and be able to get more momentum coming off. So it does come into play, but you usually don't want to utilize that until you're ready to make a significant move.
Very good, and thank you for that. Again, I'm very much a stock car novice, at least when it comes to restrictor plate racing. Not too bad on the short tracks, but these things always kind of baffled me. Just tried to stay out of trouble and be there at the end and get what you can get. We do have a lot of rolling wounded going around this track.
No question. There's quite a bit of attrition before the halfway mark. Some drivers have a tendency to believe that if they can get, when they come off of 2 on the outside line, if they get closer to the wall, that and they get separation, they feel like that they can get more momentum. But that's just not the case, because that inside line can break air to the nose of the car that's on the outside. So if you, on those straightaways, if you can get close, and reasonably race next to the cars next to you, that side draft can help you as far as that outside line goes.
Most definitely. I mean, I know from the open wheel side, sometimes, especially at Indianapolis, we use the wall to create a draft.
There you go. Here's this big push right now, Mark.
Here it comes.
Down the back stretch. Yep. You see Sean utilizing that side draft coming down the back. Then you'll see the inside line get its momentum on entry. If he stays tight here, he might be able to find a little bit more speed. If 96 can get behind him and give him a good push, you'll see him gain right here.
We'll get on board the 96, and we'll let Sam Crow give the grade on the pushing skills of the driver of the Chevrolet Camaro, running now third. He pushes Sean Merriman to the lead. Osterman's going to come right back on the bottom.
Absolutely. Christian Light is he's found him a good space here, and he's comfortable. And this is usually what you want to do, especially if you're just trying to ride this thing out and you're not fighting for a position. He's found a good space and a good interval here. But through the corner, as he comes off, this is about where a lot of drivers would like to get their push. If I'm leading this line, I want the guy behind me to go ahead. If he's got a run coming off of 2, go ahead and give me that nudge. Or even on entry into 3, give me that nudge, because that's where the lower line's going to get its pace. And so if Christian wanted to, or again, I'm not in his seat, but if he wants to, he can come off here at 4. He'll be able to give that push coming into the 18. Sean will gain that momentum down the front stretch through the tri-oval, and you'll see the car, both lines begin to even out going into 1.
And there we go. We'll let you know the 18 of Sean Merriman is your leader. The 96 of Christian Light is third. Justin Osterman and Andrew Miller in the 40. They're fighting over fourth. Greg Evans, he's been around that top 5 area pretty much the entire time. Whoa! Big wiggle out of Andrew Miller in 3.
Big move. Big wiggle.
And what a veteran move. I know it's got the rookie stripe on the number 2.
And Greg says, I want no part of this. I think Greg has decided that he wants to take a different approach.
You know, I was going to say that was a veteran move. I know it says rookie on the rear of the number 2, or it's got the rookie symbol. That is no rookie in the behind the wheel of that number 2. But that was a veteran move to, one, get off of the 40 and let him save it, and then immediately say, you know what, there's a hole to my left. I think I'll go down there for a while. So Greg Evans gets himself.
Greg Evans, absolutely. Greg Evans is he is born a born racer as far as online racing goes. He's been surrounded by much of his life. A lot of people don't know that Greg Evans is a former NASCAR race director for the Wheeling Modified Tour. He was also a flag man for that tour for a number of years. His father was a flag. Oh, we have a crash! Miller loses it in the tri-oval.
Hard contact for Andrew Miller. He's going to have the 33 of Corey Swager there in close contact. Tough break for Andrew Miller. Had been at the front of this field for much of the event, getting close into the end of the second stage. And let's see what we've got here for Andrew Miller. He is the 4th car there on the top line in the banana yellow.
He got into for some reason, Christian. I don't know if Christian was just trying to slow his momentum down and not catch Colin Cole too hard, and then it just caused an accordion effect. So it wasn't so much that Miller lost it as it was just trying to avoid the contact. He did catch Light enough, but he just lost control of the car after that. After the next car, they all started hitting.
Yeah, it was contact from the 87 of Adam O'Brien there. It appeared that kind of finished him off.
Yeah,
but that's the what is it, the concertina effect? call from Formula One broadcasters. I
was going to say that has to be a terminology that you've heard before, because we call it the accordion.
Yeah, concertina in the Elite Racing League, which Gary Godso calls. Our good friend Robert Hill used to, when I would say that, he would say it's a concert with Tina. But anyway, Justin Kirby is chiming back in. He said, you know, they finally got us rain. We were talking about driver gestures earlier. He said they finally got us rain. Driver gestures are not out of the question. I shudder to think what he is going to use that for on me whenever we meet up on Monday nights after that update. Meanwhile, 65 laps to go. Do want to thank everybody for watching and enjoying the stream. If you are enjoying the stream, go ahead and smash the like button on the video. Ring the bell to subscribe. Ring the bell to subscribe to the channel. Those would be the two biggest things that you can do to help us fight that YouTube algorithm and give these guys a much bigger showcase every week, because they certainly deserve it. 64 laps to go here in the Blackmagic Studios 300. Do want to let you guys know that Archway Industrial Coatings is a St. Louis-based floor coating company that has been getting the job done for years. Archway's epoxy and urethane flooring solutions withstand the test of time while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They are committed to doing the highest quality work at the lowest possible cost every time. Archway Industrial Coatings is the premier official partner of the American Motorsports Associations. Also would like to thank the sponsor of tonight's race, Blackmagic Studios. If you need a paint for any sort of iRacing machine, be it one of these stock cars, an open wheel car, you can check out my car, the number 69 Indy Alliance machine that runs a lot on this network. That's also done by Andy Dunwoody. But if you want a quality iRacing paint at a pretty good price, go hit up Andy Dunwoody at Blackmagic Studios. That paint is worth 2/10.
I went back and looked at it from Christian Light's perspective. As they were coming into the tri-oval, he was going ahead and giving Colin trying to give him a light bump through the tri-oval to give that top line a little momentum. And Colin got just a little squirrely, and then of course that gave Christian a little bit of a moment to be evasive himself, and so after that it just kind of stacked up behind them.
Yeah, it doesn't take much.
It does not take much in these cars. These cars again can get extremely light in the tri-oval. I can't even begin, and the trucks are even worse. The air can get off of them so quickly in the tri-oval, and if you're not careful and bumping in the wrong place, it can get the car uncontrollable very quickly.
100% right as always, Sam. Justin says he's only going to flash me peace signs. Kendall Paul has chimed in and said we should be able to move people now. So Sam, we're going to have to give that a shot once the stage break happens, and we've got a little bit of time.
You have to be careful with Kirby. You have to be careful with him. Do you know how you know Justin's lying?
How's that?
His lips are moving. So, I'm just kidding. Justin Kirby and I, we go back a long way. I was racing the Kirby brothers back in the old Neora days, the short track challenge days with greats like the Truman brothers and Joe Flanagan and others, and so Justin knows that I'm just picking.
No, it's 100% all right.
It's a lot of water under that bridge.
You know, it's kind of funny. Justin Kirby, if you want to go back and watch that Monday night race in the ISRA, Justin Kirby.
What a great run he had. He had a great run.
Yeah, I thought I had that. I thought I was just going to cruise home, and I looked up and I saw Justin Kirby coming. I said, whoa, I'm going to have to get up on the wheel and drive this thing.
And you did. It was a great win.
Well, thankfully, I think that him and Craig Forsyth might have got me, but them boys were a little bit short on fuel, and I'd managed to save just enough, so we were able to bring home the win. But that was
yeah. They both equally ran out of fuel coming out of 4 there on the last lap.
And here I had enough to even do a victory lap. How about that?
You sure did. You sure did. You deserve that victory lap. You ran a great race.
Oh me, what is that's the great thing about P1 broadcasting is not only do you get the broadcast, but it's racers that do the broadcast. Sam Crow, myself, we run these races just as much as we commentate on them. We're getting ready to come back to green, and we're going to have a short dash here for some stage points, Sam.
Absolutely. The lights are out on the pace car as it comes down pit road. Osterman's going to be leading the field to the green flag, and then we will have our second stage.
He most certainly is. And one of the things that I do want to kind of point out to the fans at home, we are down. We started with 31 cars here, which is a tremendous turnout.
Oh, they're wrecking in turn 2. Jens is involved. Several others are involved. Into the wall. Caution's out. This will be our stage break.
And that was a hard hit for the 54 of Michael Kirk.
3 or 4 cars involved in that particular incident.
Looks. It appears to me the the 3 and the 54 might have got together. The 54 comes down, makes contact with the 9, and then the 2 that started it kind of finished it hard into the wall for the number 3 of Trevor Benz. 54 of Michael Kirk is going to come down. He's going to collect the number 1 machine of Nolan Milnes. The 40 of Andrew Miller also involved. Is that that appears to be the 72 of John Hutchins, escaping further damage, as does the 46 of Edwin James, and 2 more are going to head for the repair bin. We've only got, at this point by my count, Sam, we've only got 16 cars now on the lead lap. Colby Pierce did drop that lap.
17 cars, right?
Yeah, Colby Pierce. Well, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. Colby Pierce did drop that lap down. But we've
he did. Okay.
It doesn't appear as though Colby is damaged anyway. I think it was more along the lines of he lost touch with the draft and got lapped. But caution is out, and Colby Pierce is going to take that lucky dog and get himself right back on the lead lap to end this stage. So we're going to have 17 cars on the lead lap. We've really only got about 20 that are on the racetrack. Everybody else has gone to the pit lane. So we're gonna turn the split off and just show you the cars that are still running here. Justin Osterman is your leader. Look at who's second.
Mr. Evans always seems to find the front.
He most certainly does. Michael Moquin in the 8 is third. Colin Cole is fourth in the 17.
Moquin has been he's been a fixture in that top 3 all night long.
Yeah,
he has been a fixture.
I was going to say that 8 hasn't really left at least the top 5 to my eye, but certainly he's been right around the lead the entire evening. Sean Merriman in the 18 is 5th. Christian Light in the 9th.
Who's that getting the lucky dog? Who was that getting the lucky dog, Mark?
I didn't see it.
Was it a lucky dog or a wave around? I just saw a car pass the pace car, so I was just curious. I didn't see who it was.
It could have been a wave around. I know Colby Pierce was the lucky dog.
It looked to be John Hutchins.
Could have been.
Just past the pace car. Yeah.
It could have been. And there's John. He is a lap down in the 18th spot in the 72 machine. And that 72
race control has actually extended the caution period.
Yeah, so what they do, and they do this in this league quite a bit. If there's a caution right near the end of a stage, they will extend the caution through the stage break, so they don't have a restart to come to the stage break. So in this case, if they were going to get the green flag or 1 to go at the stage break, they will simply extend the caution. Kendall Paul, series director, Brian Sharp also works race control. These guys all have the admin box, so they're able to do that while they're in their rigs. But they'll extend the caution, and they'll say, caution is being extended by X amount of laps, and pit road is actually closed during that time.
Right.
So that's how that kind of works. We're gonna keep the camera on Justin Osterman, Greg Evans as they pull it into pit lane, Michael Moquin, Christian Light. The entire field, basically those that are running, are gonna all bring it onto pit road at the same time. We'll watch them come off of pit road. Jason Heaney is going to win that race off of pit road over Justin Osterman. Greg Evans comes out third. Michael Moquin in the 8 is fourth. Corey Crandall is fifth. And now let's see if we can't bring a driver up. And
who did you want to try?
Who do I want to try? Let's see if we can't get Colby Pierce up here. I've got him.
Oh, do you?
I've got him. Let me see if I can actually make it. Let me see if I can actually make it happen this time.
Creating.
You got him, Sam? Let's see. Let's move
There he is.
to
Hello?
Colby Pierce, Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got a copy. What's going on, gentlemen?
You know, you got kind of involved in a mess that wasn't your own making earlier. You're back on you got a lap down. You're back on the lead lap. Kind of tell us about your day and what your plans are for these last 58 laps or so. You got a bit of job ahead of you, but the herd's been thinned a little bit.
Yeah, that going lap down was my own mistake. I meant to just go hide in the back of the pack. I quite haven't learned how to really let off and just join in the back, and I didn't want to, mess up anyone's race. And then just had a little incident there where I went down pit road right as it closed, so had a hold penalty, and luckily I got down pit lane right before the yellow came out. But my plan is just to make it through this, help my teammates when I can. A lot of them are out and gone due to earlier incidents, but hopefully some of us can, carry on the momentum and bring home a win.
Very good. Well, Colby, we thank you for taking time out of your busy race here. I know it's under caution, but I know you guys have things to do. Join us in the booth. You are the first one. You are the first driver to join the P1 broadcast here for the AMA series. So thank you so much for that, and we'll let you get back.
Yeah.
We'll let you get back to the team. Wish the boys good luck for me. You hear?
Will do.
Thank you, sir.
You guys have fun up here in Tower.
Oh, we're having a blast. Sam and I.
Absolutely.
Sam and I love nothing more than a good motor race, and we're getting one tonight.
Yeah.
So.
You just keep both hands on the wheel, Kobe. You're doing a great job.
All right. Thanks, Solomon.
Yep.
We'll move you back to Dark Horse.
That's Colby Pierce, and Colby, longtime competitor in this and other series. He's been a member of that Black Magic Studios, now Dark Horse Performance team, for a good long while. It was actually Colby Pierce who kind of introduced me to the Black Magic Studios team, and so very fitting that Colby gets to be the first one. He and Andy Dunwoody have been longtime backers of mine, and so one of the things that Colby does in the sim Sam is he is a photographer, and so if you ever need pictures of if you ever need iRacing pictures, you can get that file over to Colby Pierce at No Pass Media, and he'll make some good ones for you.
Oh, that sounds great. No, that's good to know. That's good information to know.
He's almost as good as Michael Goodman.
I'd be interested now that we might be able to get Kyle Heath back up here just to find out what had him so frustrated earlier in the race.
Well, we might have to ask him later because I think they're going to get one to go here. And yeah, there's the pace car across the line. Lights are out, so I don't want to bother him if they. Yeah.
Oh no! It was just a personal thought.
No, can we get one more yellow? We'll get Kyle up here for sure. I would bet you a shiny.
Or even talk to Kendale and just get his feelings about being the defending race winner and having an early exit.
I love Kendale Paul. He's my endurance teammate. So for the Dark Horse Performance team, the lead Cadillac is manned by myself, Kendale Paul, and John Hutchins. And Kendale Paul during the 24 hours and Andy Dunwoody for the 24. Kendale Paul is an absolute riot in those races. Great sense of humor. You have to have a sense of humor if you go through a 24-hour car race. Sam and I were just talking about that, actually. And so I have not been.
For the event, yeah.
I have not been to the virtual Daytona for virtual speed weeks this year. Typically, I do not enter these. Just not my cup of tea, but I'll come watch some of them. So the last time I was here in this was in the 24 hours, and we were kind of talking earlier. Sam has won the 24. We ran second this year, so middle step of the podium for my crew. But ultimately, the 24 hours is more about having fun with your friends than it is anything else. And I guarantee you, we might have finished second in that race. But that four-man crew of me, Kendale, Andy Dunwoody, and John Hutchins, we definitely won the fun. There's nothing more fun than running an endurance race with those guys. But we'll get Kendale Paul up here and get his sense of humor going because it's an absolute riot. Meanwhile, the lights are out on the iRacing pace car. They're going to turn that baby left, and we're going to get going here in the final stage. We've got 56 laps to go when they hit the stripe. Jason Heaney is your leader. Justin Osterman second. Greg Evans and Corey Crandall make up row 2. Colin Swager 5th and 6th. Here we go.
Never been to call it a night.
Yeah, so that means
we're down to 16 cars in the field.
Well, we've got 15 on the lead lap. Hutchins, O'Brien, James, and Kirk
Okay, they're still on the track.
Well, 19. Michael Kirk is still on pit lane. So Edwin James in 19th, and that's the 46 car. He is the final car that is circulating out here.
Well, even with that said, you take into account how many drivers have already retired out of this event. If you're only a few laps down, if there are other cautions and other catastrophic happenings on the racetrack, I mean, you can make up significant positions and points and not have to be on the lead lap. So there are points to be made here if you're willing just to ride it out and get the best finish possible.
You're 100% right. I'm thinking about looking at the scoring table. Sam, I'm looking at it. If Kendall Paul, Donald Green, those two are still in their cars. But if Kendall Paul, he's going to run the full season. If he was to get out, he's 40 laps down. If he was to get out and make 3 laps, he would go from 24th to 22nd. That's 2 points.
Easily, yeah. It's 2 points.
Yeah. Donald Green is in a situation where, he's been they've been on the pit lane for 49 minutes. But if Donald Green can get his Chevrolet, in a position to run 3 laps, he could potentially.
Then he makes up three positions. Three positions.
Yeah.
It's always important.
100%.
Nolan Mills is now disconnected. He is completely out of the event.
And so that's going to leave us with 18 runners. Of those 18 runners, 13 on the lead lap. Jason Heaney, your leader. Greg Evans is second, and he is firmly but fairly on the rear bumper of the number 9. Justin Osterman third, Noah Abbott fourth, Corey Crandall fifth, Colin Cole is sixth in the 17, Corey Swager in the 33 is eighth. Then you've got Pierce, Heath, and Christian Light in the 96, going to round out your top 10. And don't worry, Mom, Christian's still with us. He's still got all 4 fenders on the front of that thing, and I do believe he's even got his rear bumper fixed. So a whole 96 for Christian Light. Michael Moquin is 11th in the 8. Sean Merriman in the 18 is 12th. Andrew Miller still on the track. He is the last car on the lead lap in 13th position, and you see the yellow car there at the back. Those 13 cars are all in it with a shout. John Hutchins is 1 lap down in the 72. Ted Craven is 2 down in the 30. Nolan Milnes has retired. Adam O'Brien still circulating in the 87. He is 17th, 4 laps in arrears. Edwin James is the last car that is still out there in the 46. He is 5 laps down, but as Sam has said, and we've alluded to up here, every position is a point. Every point is important. This is a playoff series, and so you want to score as many as you can to get in to be in that championship discussion once we get toward the end of this season.
I find it interesting that in chat that it's already become a point of interest that a lot of the top 10 running, or actually the top 13 running cars, all are rookies to the AMA. And so that is getting a lot of attention already, even in chat. So it's interesting that first-time runners here in this league are actually the ones that are still on the track and haven't been caught up in too much of the incidents that have happened so far.
And that's you raise a pretty good point there, and Sam, the fun thing about that is they may be rookies to the series, but we know that a lot of these guys.
That is well said. Well said.
They may be rookies to this series, but there is, I might not race stock cars much. I know names like Sean Merriman. I know names like Sean Merriman, obviously Greg Evans. So they may be rookies to the series, but they are not rookies to the car or rookies to this type of competition.
Not at all. Oh, side by side on the back stretch, touching door to door.
Yeah, and that and with that, these drivers are going to be, they're going to know, hey, that guy might be a rookie, but as an example, we'll use Colin Cole. He might be a rookie to the series. That's almost 2,400 iRating. Sean Merriman, he's almost $3,000. I mean, these guys are Andrew Miller 2,900. These guys are good drivers.
You don't get there easily. No, you don't get there easily.
No, these guys are great drivers, and so they may be first timers of the series, but they are not bad drivers in the least. You see the lap car there getting out of the way. I do want to let you guys know that this is only the beginning of the AMA series on the P1 Broadcasting Network. We are starting a stretch where we're going to race pretty much every week at this time, 8:30 Eastern Standard. We're going to go pretty much every Thursday without a break through May the 1st.
Wow.
So Sam and I are going to get to talk quite a bit. We promise not to share all of our classic racing stories, such as me getting locked in a bathroom with Mario Andretti. Yes, I'll tell that one at some point.
Heavens. Yeah, well, I can't wait to hear that one.
Or getting hit by Paul Newman's golf cart. But tonight's just the beginning. Next week, we do have the AMA Xfinity Series at Atlanta. The Blackmagic Studios Grand National Series goes to Atlanta. And then the end of February, we're going to take these cars to COTA, Circuit of the Americas. They're going to run the short course just like they do in real life. All of these races, by the way, are full distance. From there, we're going to go to Phoenix, and fortunately, it is the bad Phoenix. As Gary Godso likes to say, Gary is not a fan. Our chairman and founder and leader and all of that is not a fan of the Phoenix reconfiguration. So he calls it Bad Phoenix. But we're going to go to Phoenix on March. He calls it Bad Phoenix. But we're going to go to Phoenix on March the 6th. The 13th will be at Las Vegas. March the 20th will be at Homestead, Miami. We'll close out the month of March for the Hot Dog Stand 250 at Sam. Where do you think we're running for hot dogs?
Martinsville.
We're going to go to Martinsville, Virginia, March 27th. For the month of April, Darlington, Bristol, the Rock at Rockingham, and we'll close out April at Talladega. And then
heavens, April is a driver's month. Those tracks require so much skill.
So I have 2 career AMA wins, Sam. Both of those in the Premier Truck Series. The first one was at Talladega, and the second one was at Bristol.
Boy, you got the spectrum all covered, don't you?
So I wanted to. I won my 2 races at
the longest track and one of the shortest.
Yeah, I wanted the longest and Martinsville and Bristol are both half miles, but I don't. Right. I think Bristol might be just a shade longer if you measured it with a laser.
Probably, by all rights, yes.
Might be a shade longer, but yeah. So the biggest track and the second smallest, and we're going to end that string of 12 races in 12 weeks at Texas, which is my absolute favorite track in an IndyCar. These guys are going to do it in a stock car.
Probably my worst track in a stock car.
But you know what we don't have in the sim that is so helpful? There's no PJ1 all over the top groove at Texas, and so it doesn't ruin the racetrack as they've done in real life. Speaking of what's happening in real life, right in front of us,
have you noticed the change of the guard up in the front? We're seeing names like Crandall, Heaney, Abbott. We're seeing names like those that have got up to the front and they're wanting to lead now. This is the race within the race, simply because there are no more stage cautions. There are no opportunities to fix, straighten, or change tires unlimitedly. This is where now you'll start to see the drivers that want to be up front move up front. The drivers that want to just ride it out and see how things pan out after pit stops. A lot of drivers, myself included, I would like to find a comfortable place and then allow green flag pit stops to play out. Now, this is just me. And once green flag pit stops play out, then I'll have a better indication of where I am and where I'd like to run, especially if I can stay attached to the lead pack. So you're starting to see some of these drivers start to make a little bit of move and decisions about where they would like to be running into green flag stops.
And when do you think those green flag stops are going to happen? We're 15 laps into this run. We've got 44 to go. When does the smart money pull it onto pit lane here, Sam?
Well, a lot of drivers may be under the mindset that they'll split this last run in half. So usually a lot of drivers will think along those lines. If I have a 60 lap run or a 55 lap run, then I'm going to look somewhere around 25 laps to go or 30 laps to go ahead and pit and just get it out of the way. Sometimes there's an advantage to do that if you have a teammate and you can pit together from the back of the pack and go in and pit unaware to the rest of the field. If you have good drafting partners, you can get back out up to speed. You won't lose a lot of momentum. You may even gain momentum, so to speak. If you're at the front of the field, you lose that element of surprise and the ability to pit and catch people off guard. And so there are strategies that play out. And then some people would just like to run the tank out. So it may take them all the way up to 15 to 20 laps to go, and then what they're hoping for is that other cars will pit, the pack will stay together, they'll stay faster with more cars, and then there may be a caution that would come out and catch more cars a lap down. So there are a lot of strategies that play out here.
And this is, this is something we talked about teammates earlier, but this is something, where a big team like a Dark Horse or the Black Magic Sim guys, you've got Backwoods Motorsports, you've got First Gear Racing. That's where some of these guys can be. That's where some of these guys can be at a huge advantage because they all know when they're going to pit the guys that are in that pack.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Greg Evans, he's in the free agent no talkie chat. So
Greg is doing exactly what a veteran driver would do. He's finding himself a comfortable place at the front, and then wherever the leaders go, he will probably go with them.
Yeah, I was going to say
simply because he knows that is his potential of winning the race. Staying with the leaders.
I was going to say I would bet you a shiny new quarter that Greg Evans is going to follow the 35 and the 9 right down pit road when they decide.
Whoever's leading, that's who he'll probably want to stay with. Just simply because they're in front of him. They have to make that announcement that they're going to be pitting so that nobody will run over them. And so it's just the smart play if you're a veteran driver and you have no other drafting help or teammates that are in the race. That's what you want to do. You want to stay with those that are running up front.
100%. One of the things that we haven't done today, and we're going to do it for future broadcasts, it doesn't really make much sense to do it during a Daytona, just simply because everybody is on top of each other anyway. But we're going to go through the field. We'll show you everybody's liveries. We'll talk about each driver individually at least once throughout the broadcast. So if you're missing your favorite driver, do note that we will go through the field. It just doesn't really work very well here at Daytona or Talladega, just simply because the entire field is stacked on top of each other. Corey Crandall is your leader in the 35. Jason Heaney is second in the 9. Noah Abbott has worked his way up to third. He's in the 05. Greg Evans in the deuce is.
And guess who's there? Kyle Heath.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch up on the backstretch.
Yeah.
3 wide going into 3.
This makes me nervous. We've got a car down in the grass. I don't know what that's all about. These guys all over the place. You've got the 33. That's Corey Swagger. He is moving back and forth. That is awfully, awfully dangerous to be moving back and forth in the corner like that. But Swagger gets away with it.
And did I see a car in the infield in 3 and 4?
You do. Let's see if we can.
Hutchins?
Let's see if we can pick it up. Trying to find it on one of the speed shots, maybe. Let's get in the P1 blimp and see if we can make it out. Hutchins.
It's the 54. It's the 54 of Michael Kirk.
Understood. There he is. So the 54 of Michael Kirk has stopped right there on the inside of turn number 3. He is in the grass. It's not going to bring out a caution, but what has happened to Michael Kirk?
That's unusual. I hope that he is okay.
Yeah, there he goes.
And he is logged. He's logged, yes.
Yeah, so he's.
That's always a scary thing when you see a driver pull off the racetrack like that. You don't know if there's an emergency that's happened where he's at, a medical emergency, or some
Equipment
mechanical
failure.
emergency with his equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know sometimes.
Well, and that's something that does happen. It happened to Matt Wagner. Uh, you know, it was happening to him all night Monday night, Tuesday night in the Area 51 race. It happened to him last night in his Horizon IndyCar Series race. People don't realize these rigs, they are fabulously expensive, but every single one of these drivers is sitting in a piece of equipment that is one of one, and you don't go to Best Buy and get one of these things off the shelf. Almost all of them are either custom made, or you get them from a specialty shop like Track Racer or Next Level Sim Motion, something like that, where it's a very low volume business, and they're essentially custom made for each person, and things fail. It's not a situation where it's like going to buy an Xbox controller. My Fanatec steering wheel does have, my Fanatec F1 steering wheel does have a PlayStation logo on it, but you don't use it to play a PlayStation, right?
No, exactly.
It's the wheel would have been, the wheel and the wheelbase might have cost about 4 times as much as a PS5.
That's a PS5. That's exactly right.
Yeah, so you don't, it's and equipment failures do happen. And the more complicated you get, the more complicated you get, the more likely it is things are to fail. Things wear out. I think he was having trouble. Matty was having trouble with his pedals, and that might have been what that was. He just pulled it off in the grass because his pedals broke. We've seen that happen. We've seen that happen before too. These things are hydraulically.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're hydraulically actuated, like mine are.
And at least he had the sense of awareness that he was able to pull the car off of the track and still have that capability. Because if there's a failure, just like in real racing, if a wheel comes off or something mechanically goes wrong with the car and it happens in the pack, it can actually cause a lot of chaos.
It most certainly can, and you don't have any control over it. The other thing is that he might not have been able to Alt F4 or tow. Like if his wheelbase failed, that button for me is on the steering wheel. So if my wheel fails, I can't tow. So he might have had the presence of mind to understand that it was failing, guided it to the grass and stopped and waited for an admin to tow him. And that happens sometimes too. Back at the front, Corey Crandall still leads it from Noah Abbott, Jason Heaney, Kyle Heath, and Greg Evans is 5th. Osterman 6th, Light 7th. Corey Swager is 8th. Colby Pierce 9th. And Michael Moquin going to round out your top 10. Colin Cole is 11th. Sean Merriman 12th. Andrew Miller is the last runner on the lead lap. All of our lead lap cars are more or less in the lead draft. We've got some of the rolling wounded that are going to be quickly approached.
Yeah, they've just announced that they're going to stay on the bottom, letting the leaders know. The communication is excellent among the drivers tonight. They're letting them know that they're going to hold that bottom line so that the field can get by them. I love the level of communication in that regard tonight. The drivers have shown a lot of respect.
Yeah, it's we were kind of making light of no hand gestures in iRacing.
Look how Abbott gets so light right there in the tri-oval. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Watch as he comes through the tri-oval, how light the car gets on that top side. Kyle says he's not going to have any part of that. He moves down to the bottom. That is an incredible example of how that car can get away from you so quickly in that spot.
We're going to try to show it. We're going to get on the roof cam, but I'm going to put it in the cockpit when we get back around turn 3, just to kind of show the fans at home exactly what Sam Crow is talking about. He's even light going down the backstretch. It doesn't look like that car wants to drive straight. Now,
again, these cars are so sensitive to the air because they do not have the foils or the body pans underneath that can help them become more slipstream. But you see here how high Abbott is when he's coming off the corner. As he approaches into the tri-oval,
apron bad, watch it
right here, and you'll see a little wiggle in the wheel, just enough for him to try and catch the car. It's significant at times.
it is. The other thing that I always struggled with, mentioned the Formula One wheel. When I drive a stock car, I do it with a Formula One or IndyCar style wheel, and that plays into it too. Talking about equipment, if you don't have the right wheelbase, if you don't have the right wheel rim on, you can be in trouble here too. There's a reason that NASCAR cars have the larger steering wheels and they don't use rectangles to drive with, and that's the reason that they do. You saw Noah Abbott sawing on the wheel to get through the tri-oval. We are about at 30 to go, and Sam, the window is open. Who's going to be the first taker, you think?
It's so hard to say. The team cars will probably work together, but again, depending on how many cars are in that team that can work together, when they would go. You may find some of the team cars, if there's 3 or 4 that can draft together, if they can pit together and they can exit together, then they may be the first to go so that they can have the momentum, as the leaders who may have less teammates would have to come out at a disadvantage of lesser cars in a draft. The more cars that there are, the faster your draft will be. As long as you can keep it in line, of course.
Oh, right on the money. Right on the money you are. I did notice Greg Evans has kind of moved toward the.
He got kind of shuffled back a little bit as it gets a little bit more aggressive about some of these drivers wanting to get to the front. But if you also noticed, Kyle Heath has done the same thing. You got your first takers coming up right here. They're announcing already. Some of the team members are already going to be pitting right here.
Here they come. About half the field streams toward pit lane. Careful. Whoa it up.
Wow.
And so the 05 Noah Abbott extremely hard on the pit road. I do not get the black flag indicator. So, Sam, you're going to have to tell us if anybody gets a speeding ticket. But that was awfully quick for Noah Abbott on the pit road. Some of those cars might have been close.
You'll find out very quickly who got the penalty and who did. It'll definitely be recognizable. Now that there's been some takers, a lot of drivers will say we don't want that group. There were so many in that group. We don't want that group to get a lead on us. There may be more takers this time by. Colby Pierce is going to be already made an announcement that he's coming in.
Now that is team cars right there. That's Colby Pierce. He is coming to pit lane with a teammate. Indeed, I am saddened to report that Noah Abbott did get the speeding ticket. He is now leaving. But 54,
you called it.
54 seconds in the box. That looks awful hot. Colby Pierce, I'd be willing to bet you a shiny new dime that Colby Pierce got gas only. He was only in for 7 seconds. So I'd bet you that Colby got gas only, and he's gonna have the car of Noah Abbott right in front of him, and Colby.
Oh, absolutely.
Colby may come out of this smelling like a rose because he's going to have drafting help, and he's going to have the shorter pit stop. Only Michael Moquin was able to.
I would dare to say a lot of these drivers are not going to take tires on this green flag stop. It will be just a fuel-only stop.
Now, just
the leaders that are out now, of course, they will be on pit road a fraction of the time longer simply because they'll have to get more fuel. But I don't see them staying out too long just simply because either they want to catch a caution or they'll have to pit just so that the rest of the field doesn't, that big pack that pitted just a couple of laps ago will not get too much momentum on them.
Great points raised as always. Colby Pierce going to get swallowed up by that group led by Michael Moquin, Jason Heaney, and so forth. But he should be able to latch right onto the back.
This group that you're seeing right here, this group will be your lead group.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, they're a full second a lap quicker than this one. Not only have they pitted, they've got their stops out of the way. They're a lot more organized. They're not racing each other. Whereas this group is
Right. Christian Light has got out of line, so it does slow the momentum of that group down. Even though they have a lapper attached to the back of their field, it doesn't back to the back of their pack. It hurts them more to have any car out of line here. They have to be in line to be able to keep pace with that group that's catching them.
And snaps, that's a great point. And Christian Light going to take it to the outside of Greg Evans one more time. Now he gets back in line, but you see just what that move.
Greg Evans is making a comment about pitting.
All right. Well, we'll stay here and watch it. We talked about the difference in speed. Corey Swager, 48.552 that last time by.
Yep.
47.
I think your leaders are getting ready to pit.
Yeah, they are. They're
Christian Light, Sean Merriman, Andrew Miller. These guys are not rookies. These guys are seasoned veterans. They're going to know what to do together. We'll see if they can get the cars slowed down. Greg's giving himself some space from Swager. He wants to pick his line on entry here. He wants to pick his own line so that there's no problem. This group is really smart. Do you see how they spread out? Oh, Miller gets into the back of Swager.
Yeah, kind of kicked him down right into his pit box. But there's a point to be made there where this group gave themselves room. Everybody
Yes, sir.
Spread out. They all broke to a specific point. They didn't run over each other. Great
Evans
call
will be
out.
the first off the pit road. All about Miller.
Now, Greg was 8.3 seconds in the box, and let's see where he's going to come out in relation to the pack.
In relation to that pack.
We're going to keep the camera on Greg Evans. He is the lead car. Here comes the snarling herd.
Can Evans catch that draft?
It's going to be awful close. He is.
I don't know. I think he's out of that draft. And he has no help.
No,
that team draft, it was a threat to begin with. It really was.
Now, to be fair, you got Michael Moquin leading it from Heaney, Cole, Crandall, and Heath. So Kyle Heath has moved into the top 5. Colby Pierce is right at the back of that lead draft as well. He is 6th. Greg Evans is the first car of this second group, and it is a second and a half back to Andrew Miller. So not only is Evans not in the draft of the lead group,
but he has lost the draft of all the leaders that he pitted with.
Yeah, he's lost the draft of everybody he pitted with. Now I think Andrew Miller is going to catch Evans. But they're
already discussing it in game. Or in the sim. They're already discussing what they can do to get together so that they can and at least draft together. They're discussing that right now. Miller is closing in that gap, but the other drivers that were attached to that, Swager, Christian Light, Sean Merriman, they are significantly further back. I wonder if they took tires. I actually wonder if they
did. They did. So
because sometimes you forget to turn them off.
Yeah, so
forget to tell your crew we're not taking tires this time, Bob.
Yeah, so Osterman and Swager, they were in their box 15 and 14 seconds respectively. That tells me they took tires, and that tells the tale because you're looking off the back of Andrew Miller, and he is 3 seconds clear of Justin Osterman. And now the two of Greg Evans and the 40 of Andrew Miller, they have locked together. We're going to go ahead and get back to the lead group though, because
watch how Miller will really try very hard to get to stay close with Evans to get as much speed out of a tandem that he can get. That'll be the only way that they're going to be able to make up any time, or at least stalemate the loss that they've already taken.
Yeah, there you go, and you can see it. We're gonna go off the back of Greg Evans, and you're gonna see it right here off the gearbox. Andrew Miller is tucked right up behind Greg, and that's kind of what they have to do. But they're still about 0.8 of a second slower than that lead group. They may, in fact, fall back into the clutches of Osterman, Swager, Christian Light, Sean Merriman.
No question.
Group. Yeah, they're gonna.
That's a 4-car group, absolutely.
Yeah, they're gonna get back there. But we're going to get back to the front.
You've got your leaders. Absolutely. Your leaders are putting on a show up here. Michael Moquin, who, oddly enough, he fell back at that lead pack before pit stops. And then now here he is leading after falling back around 10th and settling in there. Of course, you see Kyle Heath is, he again is one of those that's finding the front. Colby, after all that's happened to him tonight, Colby has found himself pushing the 9 of Jason Heaney. It is really getting dicey up here now. They're fighting now.
Yeah, they know 20 laps to go, 50 miles. The money is about to be paid, and one of these guys wants the trophy. One of my favorite signs in racing, and you can go look this up if you want, was Bobby Unser, effectively known in open wheel circles as Uncle Bobby. There was a sign from him, 1970. What was the first year of the Winged Eagle? Was it 76?
Okay.
That he won. But anyway, Dan Gurney went to hang the pit board over the wall back when they used to have the gulf right between the pit road and the pit road and the racetrack, where the guys would stand with a signboard to signal the drivers in the days before radios.
Right.
Dan Gurney stood in that gulf with a chalkboard for Bobby Unser on the last lap. And the sign very simply says at the top, it says Bobby, and in chalk are $2 signs.
Okay. The money lap?
That's the money lap. I believe that thing is in the Speedway Museum, come to think of it.
That's great.
Colby Pierce has gone to the lead here. Jason Heaney second. Michael
Now,
Moquin.
you'll just have to help me. Of course, we're still kind of working through the curve of learning a lot of the teams and drivers here. Now, the majority of those that are here in the lead, this lead pack, they are teammates, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
So of the lead group, and looking at teams, Colby Pierce is on the Dark Horse Performance team. He is the only one of that team that is in that lead group. The First Gear Racing team, that's Kyle Heath, Corey Crandall, Michael Moquin, and Jason Heaney. So the First Gear Racing group, they've got 4 of these 6 cars that are up here. Colby Pierce is the only Dark Horse Performance car, and then
but Abbott and Kirk at the tail end of this pack, they are both laps down. Of course, Abbott being in 13th place, and then Kirk in 17th with 22 laps down.
Right now, Abbott is independent. Michael Kirk is a member of the Dark Horse Performance Black Magic stable, and so he might be able to help Colby if it comes to that. But Colby Pierce, very much the Lone Ranger in a group of First Gear Racing cars. And then, like I said, Noah Abbott, free agent. Of course, Greg Evans, also a free agent. But 4 of those top 6 are all teammates lined up there.
This was what I was talking about earlier. When you get to green flag stops and you have an adequate amount of teammates, and there's an adequate amount of cars that are going to be pitting with you from the back, that if you can pit and you can make it work for all your teammates that are with you, if you can work like a well-oiled machine, you pull those pit stops off, then get back out on the track quickly. This is the result of that, because you will have more momentum than the leaders had, and this is exactly what has happened. And a lot of people like to do that at super speedways, is they like to stay ahead of the pack by pitting first. And I've seen it come to fruition many times. But then you have other drivers that are very skilled who can come back and pit a little later and be able to attach themselves because they've hit stellar pit stops, so to speak.
100%, and that's race sponsor Andy Dunwoody, series sponsor Andy Dunwoody. He's in the chat. He says it's amazing watching his race cars on the giant TV. It'd be even more amazing if you were in the race, Mr. Dunwoody. I understand you had a big bowling outing tonight. Hopefully you've got the bowling shoes off. You've got the feet kicked up on the footstool, because we're about to have a heck of a show with 15 to go. His driver Colby Pierce does lead it from Jason Heaney, but he has a whole heap of teammates in the first gear from the First Gear Racing stable behind him. He does have some help. Michael Kirk in the 54 back there is one of Colby Pierce's teammates, and that is going to be that might be his saving grace. Can Michael Kirk get up there and help Colby Pierce stay at the front?
Is Heaney attached to any one team, or I know
No.
you said that the other cars are all part of a team faction, but is Heaney attached to anyone?
I do not have. I do not show.
I do not see that. Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't.
Now this is
well, I take
interesting
it back.
to see.
Jason Heaney is in the First Gear Racing Discord with Heath Binns, Crandall,
Okay,
James,
so
Moquin, Oledin.
he can be working with them and not necessarily have their logo on his car. I do find it interesting that Abbott and Kirk have decided to run the outside line here and not just follow the leaders.
Well,
I'll tell you another thing that I'm noticing too as we're watching this. There is a slight slow increment where that second pack is beginning to start to close a little bit. They are starting to close the gap a little bit. They are significantly back, but I am watching this. And with less than 15 laps to go, it is going to be interesting to see if there's a bobble, if there's a problem with this lead pack. We could have a 10-car race lead.
yeah, we could. I mean,
there are 12 cars that could be racing for this win.
yeah, they don't have enough time to get there on their own. They're faster, but it's only a couple 0.3 a lap, so they're going to run out of laps.
Correct.
What Noah Abbott is doing, he is 1 lap down, so he's trying to get the lap back the hard way and then hope a caution comes out. What that's doing though is it's doing two things. The first is it's slowing this group.
Slow that pack down a little bit.
It slows it down. The other thing is that it doesn't. If those teammates are all trying to get organized so that they can try to, perhaps hang Colby Pierce out to dry, it gives those cars one less option. So with Noah Abbott to his immediate right, that means Michael Moquin can't pull out a line and go around and Noah he's now
Noah's trying to utilize this side draft on the straightaways to try and make up some of this ground to see if he can earn this lap back the hard way, because he is only 1 lap down. And there is some talk about him being a lap down and racing these leaders with close to 10 to go.
I see both sides of that debate. I see both sides.
You're going to get it. You're going to get it. There's no question. You're going to have veteran drivers that are going to say, hey, dude, let us go at it. And then you're going to have Noah, who feels like he has every right to earn that lap back.
Yeah, so my rule of thumb in a race like this, it's Daytona, so it's the biggest race of the season in the series. My feeling on that, and I had this exact situation with myself at Indianapolis in the Area 51 race Tuesday night, where I was a lap down. There were 10 laps to go at Indianapolis, and I was fighting with the leaders, trying to get my lap back the hard way. Now, there is no lucky dog in an IndyCar race, and so you have to get your lap back that way. And so that situation was a little bit different. Ultimately, I was able to get ahead of the leader. Caution flew, got back on the lead lap, and for me, that maneuver was worth 6 positions at the end of the race when you're fighting for a championship.
There's no question. It is absolutely a prerogative of the driver that is behind the wheel of his car. It really is.
Now,
it may not fit the narrative of everyone around him, and they may not like it.
But he's got the right to do it.
Part of racing, whether we like it or not.
Yeah. Now, I will say this: for Noah Abbott, I don't know if I would be doing what he's doing here, just simply because, Sam, we do have a lucky dog in the AMA. He is the only car 1 lap down.
I agree with you 100%.
If a caution,
being a racer myself, I would be equally as vocal as some of these drivers are in the sim right now, talking to Noah. I would be equally as vocal, trying to say, hey, if you'll just allow this thing to play out, if anything happens, you'll get your lap back. I would be equally as vocal. In fact, Race Control has asked them to kind of tone it down a little bit and concentrate on driving.
Yeah, and that's going to be coming from Ken Dale and Brian Sharp, for sure. Those are the two guys that do Race Control again, because they have admin boxes. They're able to they're able to do that while they are in the car racing, because it's at the touch of a button instead of having to do it on your keyboard, which is huge. Do want to give one more shout out to Archway Industrial Coatings. They're out of St. Louis. They do floor coatings, and they've been getting it done for a long time out of St. Louis. Their epoxy and urethane flooring solutions withstand the test of time while meeting their customers' installation schedules and budgets. They are committed to doing the highest quality work and the lowest possible cost every single time. Archway Industrial Coatings is the official premier sponsor of the AMA. And to finish paying the bills, we do have to thank Andy Dunwoody and everybody at Blackmagic Studios for their support. This is the Blackmagic Studios 300 from the virtual Daytona International Speedway. If you need a paint for a iRacing machine, then go hit up Andy Dunwoody over there at Blackmagic Studios. He'll get you done. Great price and a paint that's worth 2/10.
There are some beautiful liveries out there tonight.
They most certainly are, and I can't wait until we get to next week where we can showcase. We get them to slow down a little bit. We can showcase those liveries. 7 to go. Colby Pierce still leads it. Jason Heaney still second. Michael Moquin is third in the 8. Colin Cole in the 17 is fourth. Corey Crandall is going to round out your top 5. He's in the 35, and Kyle Heath is 6th. The 2 cars on the outside are not a part of this battle. Those are lap machines. That is Noah Abbott, and he is trying desperately to get his lap.
Okay, Mark, this is the critical part when we get to 5 to go here. This is the critical part of what we were just talking about. Because as those cars that run either second to 6th or 3rd to 6th, those outside lap cars that are running that outside line, they can dictate and hurt those cars that want to make a run within that 5-lap window. Because some people will want to start their move early, some people will want to wait to the last minute, and so these lap cars can make a difference in how those cars race and when they make that move. Because if Abbott and Kirk are in those positions, how are they going to be able to make that run on the outside and make it happen that they can get to the front?
Well,
so it is very critical at this particular point.
And that's a huge point, and you got to remember too. We were talking about teammates. 4 of the 6 cars up there are from the First Gear Racing stable. The one car that can help Colby Pierce from a teammate angle, that's Michael Kirk. And Michael Kirk
is the 54.
Yeah, and so he's the one pushing.
Exactly.
He's the one pushing Michael Abbott, and I gotta think that they're telling him, even if Noah Abbott wanted to get out of the way at this point, Michael Kirk isn't going to let him. Right, no. because that's to the advantage of his teammate that's leading the race, and this is just like a poker game. If you're drawing cards at Texas Hold'em, you're looking at the number of outs you have on the table. Basically, everybody from
you're running to the river now.
Right, you're running to the river, but you're running out. If you're running to the river, but if you're Michael Moquin, you don't have any outs because you're out.
Oh, there goes Abbott. There goes Abbott and Kirk to the front.
I would be willing to bet you a shiny new dime Colby Pierce let that happen.
That Colby let that happen, I agree.
He's going to let that happen because that's going to make him very difficult to pass with those 2 fast cars up in front of him. We're coming to get 3 to go, and let's see how this plays out. Is Colby going to now turn around?
Colby actually gets an advantage here because now he is not as much of a sitting duck. He can utilize the draft off of those 2-lap cars to help him gain momentum if anyone behind him tries to make a run.
Well, not only that, but he can pull the 98 Earnhardt move with Rick Mast. He can pull to the outside.
Oh, they're bunching up. Oh my heavens, that's close. Wow.
Yeah, he can pull that.
Wow.
He can pull that move and use him as a pick.
Any on the outside?
Yep.
Oh, this is good. This is good.
So just to remember, the 05 that's in the front of this field is not the leader. The leader is Colby Pierce. They are 3 wide for second.
Oh, they make contact. Oh, the 54.
Okay, so the 54 is now out of the picture. He hammers the outside wall. We've got 2 laps to go. Colby Pierce in that 42 still is the leader. We've got a car going down to the apron. That's the 05. He is going to get out of this fight.
He finally gets out of the way.
Yep. So now 2 to go, and we're going to be 2 by 2, 3 rows deep. Colby Pierce on the inside. Jason Heaney is on the outside.
What's the car on the infield? Can he keep it down there? Yes, he will. Now we're 2 by 2 by 2.
Outside line is going to prevail. Make Jason Heaney your leader. Colin Cole is second. Pierce back to third. That's Kyle Heath. He's on the outside in the 13th and 4th. Michael Moquin 5th. Corey Crandall is
Want to race
sixth.
for this lead?
Whoa,
but you
whoa,
also
whoa, whoa,
don't-
whoa, whoa. 17. Colin Cole goes way down. Almost hits
he
the pit
saved it.
lane. Now here's where it gets wild. Colby Pierce is going to go to the inside of the 9. We're going to have
they're so close.
4 wide.
4 wide.
big wreck. No
Oh,
yellow.
my heavens.
No yellow on the last lap, Sam. Colby Pierce leads
Nope.
it from Michael Moquin. We're going to come off of turn 2.
And there's the 54 is there to help Colby Pierce.
Big wreck off the back.
Can
50.
Moquin get enough side draft to stay tight to Colby Pierce? Here we go. Oh, there's contact.
He got a little bit too close with that side draft. Colby Pierce is going to hug that white line or that yellow line. He gets hit by his teammate.
Unbelievable.
Colby Pierce hit by his teammate. He's going to come across the line in second. Your winner is Michael Moquin.
Unbelievable.
I do not.
What a terrible ending for Colby Pierce.
I do not believe what I just saw.
They're saying now that the 42 ran out of fuel. The 42 ran out of fuel.
Oh my word. There is
What a finish.
There is so much to unpack from that last lap. And what I have to believe, and I've known Colby a long time, but what I have to believe is a gutted Colby Pierce. And we're gonna go back and watch it. We're gonna go back and watch it from the inside of Colby's car.
Oh. It just seems so unusual that there would be that kind of reaction from touching there coming off of 4, but it would explain everything if Pierce ran out of fuel and that the engine began to sputter, that Kirk would have nowhere to go. I mean, he was directly on him trying to push him to the win, but wow.
All right, so here we go. Here's Colby Pierce. This is real time, and let's hear it. You could hear it coughing, and
Yes.
you could hear it coughing, and poor Colby. He didn't do anything wrong. Neither did the 54.
Neither did Kirk. No,
No,
not
there's
at all.
just no way to get off of him, and you see it coasting across the line.
Can you imagine the emotions? I can't wait to talk to Michael Moquin and find out his emotions after coming through 3 and 4, making contact, losing the leader and what seemed to be the end of the race, only to watch it come right back to you within the confines of that straightaway. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable is absolutely right. What a start to the AMA Grand National Series here on P1 Broadcasting. The Black Magic Studios 300 is going to be taken down by Michael Moquin. He's your winner. Colby Pierce is going to come home second. Colin Cole is going to round out your podium in third. Greg Evans, he soldiers back to fourth. Kyle Heath is going to bring it home fifth. Andrew Miller is sixth. Jason Heaney is seventh. Sean Merriman eighth. Justin Osterman ninth. And Corey Swager is going to round out your top 10 in 11th. Corey Crandall, Kristen Light brings it home 12th. He was among the leaders all day. Noah Abbott is 13th. John Hutchins 14th. Adam O'Brien will be exactly in the middle of this field, 15th. Edwin James 16th. Michael Kirk 17th. Ted Craven, the teddy bear, is 18th. Nolan Milnes is 19th. And Trevor Binns, he had the silver Earnhardt car, but he brings it home 20th today from virtual Daytona. In 21st, Pat O'Brien. 22nd, Jason Southard. 23rd, George Glover. 24th, defending champ Kendale Paul. 25th, Donald Green. 26th, Dylan Godinez. 27th, Sean Mott. 28th, Mark Allett. 29th, Brandon Bernier. And rounding out the field, the number 125 of Brian Sharp. 31st, Keith Graham. And that is your 31 car field here from virtual Daytona. Let's see if we can't get Colin Cole queued up here.
Want me to move him down? It doesn't show that he has a mic at the moment.
Oh, well, let's see. We've got it ready for Colin. If you want to bring him up, let's see if we can do it.
There you go.
All
Welcome
right.
to Colin Cole.
Yeah, Colin Cole. You got Mark Murphy, Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You got a copy, sir? Colin, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
now.
We can now, Colin. You come home third today. You got Mark Murphy and Sam Crow in the P1 broadcasting booth. You brought it home third today. That was a wild last 3 or 4 laps. Kind of walk us through your run to third today and talk about what it took to survive that last 5 miles, because there were cars going everywhere.
Yeah, the lap cars at the end were kind of difficult. I didn't know when the time I run to go on the outside or not, but so the lap cars made it difficult for those last, I don't know, 10 laps. But I don't know, it was a lot of fun. I know that, and but no, and then at the end there, I tried to make a move low, but I don't know if I didn't watch the replay yet, but I don't know if I got hit down or what, but overall it was a very fun race.
100%. It looked like it was a lot of fun. Sam, what do you have what say you for our third place runner today?
Colin, I was just a little more curious. You found yourself a couple of times where you were just wanting to settle in certain spots. Did you have some kind of pre-race plan about maybe getting to the front, or were you really happy with your strategy and playing in where you played with your teammates?
I was pretty happy with it. I wanted to stay up front for the most of the race, but and try and miss the big ones by staying up front. But other than that, no, that was kind of my plan going in, and but yeah, had a lot of fun.
Showed a lot of patience tonight. It was really good to see you racing.
Yep, thanks, man.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun watching you, Colin, and thank you so much for being a part of the series. Do you have any friends, family, sponsors, teammates, anybody you'd like to shout out to? That's the tradition here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. You get an interview, you get to talk about your friends. The floor is yours, my man.
Just I'd like to thank my family and my wife and our newborn that we have.
That's the important ones.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you. And funny story, I actually named him after my favorite NASCAR driver, which is Chase Elliott. So kind of roundabout.
So you named him
story,
Elliott or Chase?
Chase Elliott.
But, it's funny. It's funny you say that, Colin, because my firstborn son, who's now 8, his name is AJ. So I'll let you figure that one out.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
But no, but yeah, that's the important thing. And then, but that's about it. So I had a lot of fun.
Great run, Colin. Great run tonight.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, keep going fast, having fun, my man, and we will see you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're more than welcome.
Good night.
So that is third place runner. Colin Cole. Let's go ahead and get Colby Pierce up here.
Yes, sir. Colby Pierce.
I'm up here again.
You are up here again, and Colby. For what's the saying go? For a thimble full of fuel, the man would have traded his kingdom. I gotta ask, and I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. What was going through your mind when you came off of 4 and the old 42 started to sputter there? What were you in communication with Michael?
I knew it was gonna sputter 10 laps ago. I knew it was going to sputter because I looked down, I saw, I was like, I didn't put enough fuel in. I played it a little too close. So I knew ahead of time. That's why I kind of started lifting on that inside lane just to save as much as I could. And then that all happened. Coming to turn 1, because white flag came out, and I just was like, I don't got enough. Like, I'm coming across the line with .9. I'm not making it.
Was
Like,
there ever a
there's
time where you felt like maybe if you could have let Abbott and Kirk go just a little bit sooner, that maybe you could have followed in their draft enough to,
So
since you already knew that you were already short, was there a time that you thought, man, maybe I should have let them go a little earlier?
there was that, but also with the '05, he was not, the whole night he was not easy to push whatsoever. So if he would have gotten in front of me, it would have given the guys behind me opportunity to go up and pass me. And so we kind of communicated that whole like 10 laps ago of, okay, when do we push him forward? Because we know if we push him too soon, it's gonna be bad for me. Like, there's a bad end to all of this. But once he got in front of me, I was able to just lift a little bit more, but not enough. But I'm glad to bring the admin box number 42 to podium. I mean, I haven't podiumed at Daytona in so long. Daytona's been kind of a curse to me, and I'm glad that I had a teammate that still helped me out there. A little push into the grass. Wish it was a little bit cleaner bump, but I didn't have anything for that 8, and I have mass respects to that team. They didn't race me dirty. 9 was bumping me the whole time, which it's Daytona. You're gonna get bumped.
Sure.
And I'd just like to just say massive thanks again to all my sponsors: Admin Box, No Pass Media, Black Magic Studios, all Big Jim Cookies. Like, I want to thank all of them for the opportunity that was given, and hopefully tomorrow night we have a better shot in the trucks.
100%, Colby. It's always good to see you up here, my friend. You and I have a history of pretty good results at these plate races, and so
I pushed you last year at Talladega. Me in second.
He told us about that.
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Me in second at Super Speedways is becoming a thing now. Like, it's soon gonna be coming my way, but I gotta help others first, it seems.
It's you had a heck of a good run today, my man. You led some laps. You ran second. You started 16th. So, if I'm not mistaken, you might be the hard charger this evening. You got all the sponsor shout outs in there. Anybody else you'd like to call out here before we let you go? The floor is yours, my man. You've earned it.
I know he's watching. He told me to do a good interview. I want to thank David Dunwoody. Oh my God, he's not here. He's out bowling.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat. He's in the chat.
Oh, I know he's in the chat. He gave me a phone call. He called me personally.
Was he trying to sell you a slightly dented Cadillac?
I think that offer's still on the table for you. We'll talk later about that one. But no, with that, I've learned a lot of super speedway racing from him, and he will always be my draft partner no matter where we go, because we are just like, we can connect and hold position the whole track. But he taught me everything I need to know for super speedways and for fuel mapping, and I kind of feel like I let him down on second place, but at least I brought the car home in one piece.
That's the name of the game, Colby. You brought it home in one piece. You brought it home on the podium. You led some laps. You are in excellent position.
From the back to the front.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Made up a lap.
Lap down, had a 40-second hold.
You got to enjoy the entire gambit of Daytona racing tonight, and you.
I just want tomorrow to be easier. I don't want to repeat of tonight. If I could go without the lap down and the penalty and having to work back to front, I think we'll be fine.
100%. Well, Colby, thank you so much for stopping by tonight. Keep going fast, having fun, and we'll see you tomorrow, my man.
Yeah, thank you guys for broadcasting this.
Colby.
And we look forward for the rest of the season with you guys.
Yeah,
great job
pleasure.
tonight.
That is a very, very happy Colby Pierce, and why not? He's definitely earned that. We'll go ahead and get our winner up here. That's going to be the number 8 of Michael Moquin. Sam, you got him?
I do. Michael Moquin, winner.
Yeah, welcome to the P1 Broadcasting booth, Michael. You got Mark Murphy, Sam Crow up here. Congratulations on a win at Daytona. So I posed the question to Colby: what were you thinking coming down the home stretch, and it ran out of fuel? It had seemed that you had lost your chance. Tell us what you saw coming for the flag.
So Coming in 3 and 4. Obviously the big wreck there, with the guys going 4 wide. Honestly, I was like, cool. I got a shot at possibly getting around the 42 here at the end. And then while I was high, the 54 got underneath me and side draft a little bit, and I kind of lost it. I guess I got a little too close, and it almost threw me in the wall, and I thought my chances were done. But luckily was able to collect it back up and get it rolling straight. And then coming off of 4, I just see the 42 just shoot straight down to the wall. I'm like, oh crap, what happened? And come to the line and P1, I'm like, what just happened? So a lot of emotions went through my head all at once, and I was like, wow, I went from finishing second in the FGR 500 last weekend to winning this one. I'm like, the heck happened? So, like I said, a lot of emotions. Very happy of how it went there at the end. I'm glad it didn't go worse than what it did.
100%. Sam?
Michael, great job tonight. Fantastic job. You were noticeable even from the beginning of the race, simply just based on the idea and the premise that I was noticing that you were a prolific pusher to the front all night long. You found yourself getting to the front and getting to the leaders, and you were really wanting to push those leaders and stay close and tight in the draft. Is that a normal behavior for you, that you want to get in that position?
Yeah, so I enjoy super speedways because I know it's a double-edged sword. Most of my chances, every time that I've been in a super speedway race and had a shot, usually I've found a lot more trouble in the middle to the back of the pack. And ever since I was like, well, I'm gonna just try to stay towards the front from now on. And for the most part, I've had really good success of staying up front. And if I can just stay up front 9 out of 10 times, I can stay there. And I'm one of those guys, like, I would rather be the first car in front, but I'm also one of those guys, like, if I get behind somebody, I'm going to push you, because
Well, that was highly evident tonight for sure.
yeah, because the thing is like, I don't want to be that guy that everybody gets in front of and then doesn't push them, and then now I'm kind of making enemies and not giving them a fair shot. I try to be a fair player, even though, yes, I'm with the first gear racing guys. I still like to give everybody an opportunity to race the best that they can race, and I'm gonna push you as hard and as far as I can. But I'm also not one of those guys that are going to try to wreck you out of the way. The biggest thing
What went
is
through your mind there when they went 4 wide coming on that last lap? When they went 4 wide and you lost all those teammates that you rode so long with in the closing stages, and then they go 4 wide and there's an accident, and then it's just you and Colby. Of course, the 54.
I was calling it out to him. I was like, guys, 4 wide, 4 wide, 4 wide. But I guess they just weren't able to get out of it quick enough. Right. And I just tried to stay as low as I could and give them as much space up there as I could give them without going on the apron and causing myself to spin out. Because this car, the thing is with this car compared to like a Gen 6 or the next gen, these cars, these splitters and the side skirts, they'll eat that apron super quick, and it's super quick to get them upset. But I was, again, another one of those, a lot of emotions all at one time. And I was like, well, at least I can finish second. But it just sucks because we were the last 4 that were on the lead lap. Everybody else either got lapped because they got in an accident or got taken out early and wasn't able to repair their damages.
Was actually 8 seconds behind. They were on the late lead lap as well.
Yeah, those guys, they kind of did call it out, but they did pit a little late, and that just gave us that opportunity to just drive around them and just keep going.
Momentum. Yep.
Yeah, and from what I heard from the guys that were, or from the one guy that was back there with them, was that they just were racing each other instead of just getting in line and trying to catch us. And we were calling it out, and we were staying pretty steady ahead of him. And when we were like 7-8 to go, he's like they're 8 seconds. I was like, we got this. We ain't got to worry about them. We just got to worry about who's in front of us and around us. But yeah, like I said, those guys just got wide behind me and spread out, and just it just didn't work out. And I hate it for those guys. I really do. But we all gave it our best, and we try to make it through to the end.
I told Mark it was just an amazing amount of emotion for us here in the booth to think of all that happened within the seconds of you losing it in 3 and 4, reserving yourself that I'm finishing second, only to see the leader completely get knocked out of the way, and then the checker flag be in front of you.
Yeah, it's just a lot of emotions. I mean, I was already down in the dumps because coming to at the stage break, the last stage break, coming on the pit road, I actually got a black flag for unsafe pit entrance, and I thought I was probably never going to get back all the way up to the front, because these guys, they were racing hard, side drafting hard, and I just thought I wasn't going to move. And for the longest time, I thought I wasn't going to go anywhere. But as soon as the green flag pit cycles started rolling through, I was like, well, we've got a whole lot better shot now, because we've got the last of the 4 FGR lead lap guys running. So yeah, again, it's just a lot of emotions at this moment, and I'm just happy to finally get a Daytona win. And it's been a long process for me coming.
Congratulations.
So.
100%. Well, Michael, thank you so much for joining us in the booth, and thank you so much for taking the time out. Congratulations on a big win. It's obviously your first one. It's your first race in the series, as is the tradition here at the P1 Broadcasting Network. When you win the race, you get to talk. Friends, family, sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you'd like to say hello to. We had a lot of people watching tonight, and we want to thank the viewers, but the floor is yours.
I first want to give a shout out to the First Gear Racing guys. It's now our, I believe, 1 year anniversary of FGR, and I've grown a lot over this last year with these guys, and I really do appreciate them in helping me become a better driver. Obviously, we all become better drivers. Secondly, I would like to shout out Under Industries. Good friend, fellow veteran, Chris Rangel. He owns Under Industries. Under Industries is a paintball clothing brand. He's also a big supporter and helped start up a group called Veteran Militia, which I'm also a part of. And we like to bring the veterans together any way we can. We started with paintball. We've branched out to cycling. We've done now trying to get airsoft in there. I'm trying to bring up the gaming side, things like that. So big shout out to Chris allowing me to put Under Industries on the car and allowing me to race it. Want to give a big shout out also to Elite Performance Industries, EPI. Been running with their driver development program for the last 9 weeks, and running in these open lobbies and learning this car specifically has definitely helped me a lot. Become a better driver, and I'm very happy to be a part of that program. But yeah, big shout out to Jason with the First Gear for allowing me to stay for as long as I have. Appreciate AMA for allowing all of us to come over and giving us a place. Definitely a lot of good racers in this group. Very happy to be a part of this. But yeah, first race with these guys, first win. Looking for many more after this.
100%. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for taking the time to join us in the booth. Go celebrate with those First Gear guys. Let Kyle Heath know that Murph said hello, and will we see you tomorrow night in the trucks?
No, I'm not running the trucks. but definitely you'll see me a lot more here on Thursday nights. And honestly, I have to give a shout out to Kyle too, because he took that Daytona 500 win away from me by literally 8 thousandths of a second, and so I had to give it back to him this time around. So, but yeah, huge shout out to everybody, and I appreciate y'all for the great broadcast.
Hey, we appreciate you guys turning up and showing up and giving us something
We
to
appreciate the
broadcast.
great show.
Yeah, man, that was a fun race to watch. Get out of here. Go celebrate with your friends. Keep going fast and having fun, my man.
All right, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir.
Great job, Michael.
That is Michael Moquin. He is the winner tonight from Daytona. Whew.
Me too.
I'm
Are you spent? Are you spent?
I'm out of breath. Do want to let everybody know just before the party gets really out of hand, we do have an action-packed schedule for you. 12 weeks in a row, starting here tonight at Daytona. Next week, Atlanta, then COTA, Phoenix, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, Darlington, Bristol, Rockingham, Talladega, and Texas will take us through May the 1st. All of those races will be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network on Thursday nights. On Friday nights, you're going to see many of these same drivers in the top series in the AMA. That's going to be the Truck Series. And so Sam and I will join you again at 8:30 tomorrow night for the trucks. We'll have the schedule and the remainder of the information about that series tomorrow night. I do want to thank Sam Crow for joining in. Sam, you were amazing to work with, and we look forward to doing it for the rest of the year. Speaking of the rest of the year, we've got an action-packed rest of the week for everybody here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Tomorrow night notwithstanding, we do have the AMA Archway Industrial Coatings Truck Series. We're going to go live at 8:20 just to kind of preview it for everybody out there. On Sunday, the Classic IndyCar Series returns at 3 o'clock. That's going to be Gary Godso and Andrew Wood on the call. And then that's at 3 in the afternoon. And then the hardest working man in open wheel sim racing, Gary Godso, he's going to return at 8 for the votive IndyCar Oval Series. That's 8 o'clock right here on the P1 Broadcasting Network. Sunday night, 8 p.m., and that's going to be from Michigan. That's always a really good show, Sam. Monday night, Kyle Clinworth and I, 7 o'clock from the virtual Iowa Speedway for the IndyCar Open Top Split. And then Gary will follow us at 9:30 with the ISRA Open Wheel Race from Michigan. Sam, I'm looking forward to that.
Well, you should be looking forward to that. You have really been flexing your muscle in that series. The ISRA offers some of the best online open wheel racing that you can watch, and Mike Rigney runs a great show over there, and you have been absolutely a juggernaut lately. You have several wins, and you've been really flexing your muscle. I look forward to see what happens, because it could be a great opportunity for a lot of drivers to kind of make up some points they may have lost, but it could also be a great opportunity for you to really make a run for the championship.
I'm gonna give you a little secret. Everybody that runs open wheelers loves Indianapolis. Michigan is my favorite track. That's been the site of my two biggest wins, the Race Spot US 500 and also a 4,700 top split in an IndyCar where I took down 2 pros in the last 2 laps to win that one. Always loved going to Michigan. So that's going to happen on the 17th. Tuesday the 18th, the 715 IndyCar Oval Series top split. That'll happen from Phoenix. And then next Wednesday, the Horizon Series is off, so it'll be Gary Godso and his band of merry men. They're going to be doing the Formula Indy Series at 7:30 right here on P1, and that brings us right back full circle to next Thursday night, where we're going to join you again right here, same time, same bad channel. For Sam Crow, our founder Gary Godso, everybody at the P1 Broadcasting Network would like to thank all of you for tuning in. This was a massive opener for the AMA series, and do want to thank all of you who tuned in, all of you who liked, all of you who subscribed. If you have not done so, please, if you're out there, hit the like button.
Hit that like button.
Smash the subscribe, ring the bell. All of those things do help us with the YouTube algorithm game, and they are huge. We would also like to thank everybody who is a first responder, our military, police, fire, EMTs, all the people who do the hard work at night so that we can lay our heads down on the pillow safe and sound and sleep tight. We do thank you from the bottom of our hearts. For Mark Murphy, Sam Crow, and everybody at the P1 Broadcasting Network, adios from Daytona. We will see you tomorrow night.
Night.